There were fireworks in London last weekend, but this is Super League Triathlon, and there is absolutely no time to rest. Straight into round two here in Toulouse in the south of France. Big crowds already lining this very technical course in the middle of the Pink City, and 40 of the best in the world taking it on with crucial championship points on the line. The series is reaching its halfway point, and the stakes get ever higher. SLT 2023, let's do it. Has gone. She has gone for it early. Alex Yee is having fun with it, and why not? From 5th to 1st, John Lahair is going to take it out. What a race for her. Alex Yee is your London winner. What a day in London. After all that, the RTP Global Sharks, well, they are well on top. A record single round haul of 148 points, leaving the other teams far, far behind. But they are without some of their big guns this weekend, whilst the Scorpions and the Eagles especially welcome back some point scorers and know that they have to eat into that lead. Two big races over the next 2 hours with the women up in about 10 minutes' time. Let's take a look at the race format. The very first to ever feature in SLT 6 years ago, it is the triple mix, testing an athlete's capacity to work and to think. 3 stages with short breaks in between. The traditional swim, bike, run first up, then run, bike, swim, and then finishing with bike, swim, run on a pursuit start. Plenty of opportunity to win it and to lose it as well. Now, the last run is 2 laps, which means the short chutes can be taken twice. A shortcut that can be earned by being first across the line in the opening swim, bike and run. Now, most of the field are backing up from London, so a short backup, but we also welcome some very big hitters for the first time this season.
Even though we won the women's race, we still finished bottom of the table. But this week, we've got Christian Blumenfeld, the current Olympic champion, racing for the Eagles.
I do think if I put it together and make it as hard as possible from the gun until the finish, I can be up there and fight for the podium.
We have Emma Lombardi, one of France's youngest talents, racing for the Eagles this week in front of her home crowd.
I hope the crowd will really push me. Yeah, I want to do my best, and yeah, I think it's really exciting racing in your home country. I hope it will give me a little bit more of energy.
We've also got the current world champion, France's Leo Beaugrand.
It's so tough, so exciting also for us athletes to race. Yeah, it's good to be back, and I'm looking forward, especially on home soil.
And my leading man, Hollywood Hauser, is back with the Eagles.
I was absolutely spewing to miss London last week. I know it was unfortunate, but we're back this week, baby. Toulouse, round 2, and we're looking to climb up that leaderboard.
The addition this week of Leonie Perez is most probably a big advantage to us.
The result was bad for my team in London. In Toulouse, the result will be better because I'm here.
Yeah, of course, this year we've got our star signing, the man we went after last year's series championship that he took out, Hayden Wild.
You know, we're here to be victorious this year. We've got the team to do it, so I think we're all prepared and we're going to give it everything.
The Falcon, Hayden Wild, the big in for the Scorpions, and they're going to need it. My name is Will McCloy. Alongside me right now, Chris McCormack and Annie Emerson. Annie, how good is it to be here?
Absolutely brilliant. I love this course. It's technical, it's tough. The weather conditions are amazing. And we'll take a look at the leaderboard now, Will.
Yeah, we can. John Lahair is well on top. We just heard from her. She will be looking to do it at her home in Toulouse. And don't forget, you can vote on who you think will be the person to do the job throughout. And could it be someone like a Fanny Zelaya to step up and add to her championship points? She picked up that 1 last time around. and it'll be very interesting to do so. Big crowd already here. Thank you so much to Marie de Toulouse and Toulouse Metropole, and of course the Occitanie region, who have supported and welcomed our champions, as have this amazing crowd. It will be really, really interesting to see how this one plays out. Look at the crowd already in transition, and it is an early morning race, which is something a little bit different as well. And we are very close now. As we see the QR code on the bottom right, make sure you use that to vote for who you think will win. It is time for the triple mix, and we're going to have a look at the start list in just a second. And there are stars all the way down this list, and Leonie Perrier, we heard from her. She joins the Scorpions along with Alice Beto, who comes in as well for the Sharks. All GBR. Kate Woff, great result last week, as did Olivia Matthias. Tilia Nima and Iona Miller joined Michelle Dillon's team. For the Warriors, a very different looking team. And for the Eagles, Emma Lombardi, former under-23 world champion. Look out for her, but it is time now to welcome out onto the black carpet our women's teams for the triple mix, starting with the RTP Sharks. There is Liv Matthias, fastest or second fastest swimmer last week, had a great top 10. Tilia Nima on debut, as is Iona Miller, who joins her. Jess Fulliger, 7th last week, and Kate Woff is last of all, the 2022 world champion. There's Fulliger, who comes out, and Woff, who finished 5th in the breakaway run, picked up swim points, picked up bike points as well, and 21 overall. And Michelle Dillon is sitting down with Rebecca Charlton, the manager.
Michelle, a bit of a different team composition today. What can we expect from this lineup of the Sharks?
Well, my team's super excited to be here in Toulouse racing. The crowd is sensational. We've lost a couple of key athletes from the weekend, but that's not going to stop us from putting in a massive fight today to stay at the top of the leaderboard.
We can't wait to see it. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Oh, she's very smug, Michelle Dillon, and why not? She doubled everybody else, but the Santara Tech Eagles welcome in a big new name. But we start with Katerina Shabalina, raced in Siberia, now races for Kazakhstan. She's last year's South Asian Games winner. She'll be looking for a better result, as will Julia Hauser, the world number 49. So much experience for the Austrian. Fanny Zalai comes out having finished 15th, and Jean Leher, a big cheer for her. Plenty of people from Toulouse backing her, and the 2021 under-23 world champion Emma Lombardi, and the manager Tim Don.
Tim, looking very, very handy on paper. How confident are you today?
You know, the women have prepared really well. Having Emma Lombardi and Jean Leher with the home crowd here, they're going to get right behind us. But, you know, they just need to execute the small things right and, you know, go the Eagles.
Good luck today. Thank you.
Thank you.
RTS Warriors.
The RTS Warriors, the All-American team. Big changes for them. Erica Ackerland is back, having debuted last week. Former North American under-23 champion. Victoria Lopez, the super swimmer, is here from Brazil, second in the swim rankings for Super League Triathlon. Jimena de la Peña, second in the World Junior Champs in Hamburg. Look out for her. Megan Foley comes back, and Taylor Spivey, one of the few who have raced all 5 seasons. She'll be looking for a race win. And the manager, Nick Chase, is down there with Becca right now.
Nick, triple mix format today, a little bit different. What are you expecting your strengths to be for the team today?
This course is one of our favorite in the circuit. Purpose-built for a warrior mindset, so our women are going to come out there and be fierce competitors, look for a lot of points scored on the individual level. So thanks for the support. We love being here.
We love having you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Purpose-built for a warrior mindset. I love that American flavour. And now the Bahrain Victoria Scorpions, led by Verena Steinhauser. Super consistent athlete, the Italian. Nicole van der Kay joins her as well, who was 9th in London at her second Super League series, which had plenty of top 10s, the Kiwi. Elite Beto, the veteran, coming back from her son, born in November. Barbara de Koning from the Netherlands, a front pack swimmer, so look out for her at 20 years of age. And another home favourite, Jean Leher, the mixed team relay world champion. And alongside them, Michael Gilliam.
How much of a sting are the Scorpions going to have today, MG?
I don't know how much of a sting we're going to have, but we're here to rub-a-dub-dub in the little hub called Toulouse.
Thank you as ever. Big good luck to the Scorpions.
You never know what you're going to get with MG, and that's what makes him such a joy to watch. And not too long now until this starts, as the drone flies over the river here in Toulouse. It is the triple mix, starting with a swim, bike and run. Every second lost in stage 1 and 2 is paid for in stage 3 in the pursuit start, and it is time to get underway here in Toulouse. Beautiful shot from the drones that heads out over the water, and a pretty easy start. Very different swim this time to the confines of West India Quay, and there is a little bit of current in this water coming towards us. So the Scorpions here on this side have a little bit of a longer swim to the first turn, which is about 125 metres out into the water, a second turn, and then the full 300 metres back in, as we welcome Chris McCormack into the telecast. And it was a fast start by the, I think it's the inside there, is a Warrior and a Shark head-to-head.
Current's going to play a big role in this swim. I know the pontoon draw was very, very difficult, and a lot of discussions with the Scorpions was the wrong side.
Yeah, I expect to see the Sharks take this swim out pretty hard. We've got Olivia Matthias and Kate Wolf, and of course Jess Fulliger, really, really strong swimmers. So no surprise to see the blue costumes up there of Michelle Dillon's Shark team.
You watch this first swim buoy, because that current's running from the top of the bridge all the way down. So coming around this first swim buoy is going to be very, very congested. And we saw last year it was that swim buoy that really split the swim up. But there was a lot of discussion amongst the teams in the team meetings, was getting out to this first swim buoy with clear water. And it looks like the right side with the Sharks and the Warriors have got that advantage, having that current to work with.
It's going to be an absolute smash-up at this first turn, buoy, as they're going to push each other towards the buoy. But if you can be out in that front water, which it looks like
Taylor Spivey, it looks like.
Spivey, yeah, Spivey on the inside, and then maybe potentially Woff or Matthias on the outside, as the others fight their way to turn, and that's when things can really string out. And all of these seconds, as we say, obviously it's a 3-stage race, but you lose some time in the first stage, you pay for it at the back end, and they'll just be lucky that these two are going shoulder to shoulder and not really trying to put pace into the group.
The difficulty here is they're punching straight into that swim current. As they turn now, it'll take them to the left with the current, so the athletes sitting on their back have the advantage. It's whether they can move up now to score those valuable swim points and chase that short shoot.
Yeah, be interested to see where Victoria Lopez is from the Warriors. She's joined the team this week, a super, super swimmer.
It's probably Lopez there, not Spivey. Well, that's Lopez on the front. Spivey sitting third, or vice versa.
Exactly.
Difficult to see in the water here, but it was Matthias who, out of all these athletes, had the fastest swim last week. So we'll see exactly where they are when they come out of the water. It is, as it was last week, a couple of Warriors and a couple of Sharks at the front, followed by the Scorpions as well, as we're going to head down now to Rebecca Charlton, who is with Nick Chase, who'll be enjoying this. All right, we will wait for that one as we continue to look at the swim as they head in for the last 50 metres. And already big gaps at the back there. You can see one of the Sharks, I think it is, struggling along at the back as our women look to get out of the water. And I think it is Victoria Lopez, who, as we mentioned at the top of the program, is second overall in the history of swim rankings. And it is Lopez out of the water, and alongside her and slipping
Spivey and Matthias
was Matthias, who loses a little bit, but Spivey's had a great swim there. Livy Matthias, Alice Beto, Kate Woff, another Shark. Fanny Elias had a great swim. She's sitting in 6th position, just ahead of her Eagles teammate Jean Lahair, and Tilly Anima, her debutante, finishes 11 seconds back as they keep heading out of the water, and already things are tough for Iona Miller. Leonie Perriot's had a difficult swim, 23 seconds back from Jess Fulliger and Yamina Della Pena, and it's a slow transition onto the bike.
The Warriors short shoot taken. Lopez grabbing that. Taylor Spivey out second. This will be an important first lap. They come up, make this right-hand turn, come up a tight hill. We saw last year some of the athletes opting not to put their shoes onto the top, which is a smart move to do. Get the gap open, This is a course that's very, very difficult to pass on, very technical bike course.
Clever here from Lopez, who hasn't bothered putting her feet in the shoes. She's going to get up this hill, and we saw that in the men's race. We saw athletes like Hayden Wild do that last year, steal a little break on the field, be able to take their own lines into the corners, and maybe just sit up and wait for the group to come rather than having to do the work up the hill to catch up. So Lopez, Spivey, Woff, Leher, Matthias and Beto sitting together, and Zelai's dropped a couple of seconds back, but a group of about 4 or 5 now as the Sharks take a turn on the front, and this is just like what happened last week.
These little groups that get away on this course will be tough, especially when you put Woff in. We saw her last week in London, very aggressive on the bike. I saw her going over the course with her partner, Max Stapley. She was really excited about the technicality of it, and little groups can stay away. It's very hard to close it down, so transitions will be critical. That's been the common thread amongst all the team managers, moving through transition fast.
It was interesting looking at the athletes, the new athletes that have come on board this week. Lombardi, 16 seconds down. I would have thought she would have been further up the field.
All right, we'll head down now to Becca, who is with Nick Chase of the Warriors.
Nick, a really, really strong start out there for Taylor Spivey. How's she feeling coming into today? Because we know she was struggling a little bit with an injury last week.
Taylor is going to play today by ear. She's going to do what's best for her performance, but of course, scoring those points, getting the short shoots with her and Victoria, and getting everything we can out of this race is what matters to us as the Warriors.
They're coming through. We'll let you focus, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as Nick was speaking there, Kate Woff has stolen a march on her competitors. Leher has made up great time in the first lap, but she sits in second in that group. But Kate Woff is right off the front, and she's looking for that bike short shoot for the Sharks. We know the Warriors picked one up with Victoria Lopez, and a great work it was too, with Taylor Spivey finishing second, so potential swim points for those two. But Woff wants that bike short shoot, which comes at the mount line after transition at the end of this bike, and if she can hold this off, she will pick that up and potentially come away with one of the quickest bike times as well.
I think Woff wants more than the short shoot. I think she can win the overall on the day. She came in here with intention. She landed in Toulouse off a lot of confidence from London, and she's made a dynamic move to get away from this group. We saw Hayden Wild last year get away on this course. That section down on the river, there's a bit of a vacuum off the wall, and they can really use the motorbike in front to get that gap.
So Woff, Leher, Matthias, Lopez, and then a full 10 seconds back to the next group. As these three sit in. So after the work Lopez has done, she's sitting in the back on the bike, just recovering. As we look at the QR code bottom right, who do you think's going to win this one? Predict now using the QR code, and the results will be up on the screen very soon. And if you're not looking at Kate Woff, well, potentially you should be. She's just about doubled her advantage on this lap.
It's, as we saw last year, thinking of Georgia Taylor-Brown when she just rode away with it. It's a really difficult course here in Toulouse to work in a group, and it's much easier to ride away. Woff coming into this race so strong. She's so experienced in Super League racing now, racing every single race last year, but a different athlete coming here this year. Much stronger and much more experienced.
Look at 11 seconds. Remember, this is a pursuit start for stage 3. She's been either instructed or she's feeling great to absolutely lay the hammer down on this first section, and she's opened that gap, and she is gone, absolutely gone.
Banking time for the stage 3 pursuit start. Kate Woff right now will be very happy with where she is sitting. Of course, there is a 3-minute gap where they can recover between stage 1 and stage 2, and it'll be back-to-back runs, and the field is coming up to this 3 and closing the gap now on that leading 3 as we head down now to Michelle Dillon, who'll be very happy with Kate Woff.
A significant gap out there currently for Kate Woff. Must be pretty delighted with that start.
Oh, I'm actually shaking a little bit because I knew she was going to go hard on the bike, but this to be in front this significant so early in the race is just phenomenal. I'm just so happy for her. She's got her bike skills are phenomenal as well, and she's really using those to her advantage on this course today.
Michelle, thank you.
Thank you.
Woff actually won the 2022 Under-23 World Championship off a bike breakaway. That one was with Jess Fulliger, who's one of her teammates now, but right now she is all by herself, the 24-year-old, and just showing her technical bike skills, because And Mackie, you know this, like, you look at this, there's constant changes of surface, constant off-camber corners, constant little punchy climbs. It really suits a technically proficient rider.
But you see her changing those gears. She's using her gears to get through the course. She's railing those turns. She's by far superior with her skills. She's opened this up to 15.5 seconds. And you watch her, she's riding the rails as she comes off those turns, using the entire road to get around that turn and not losing any speed. It's impressive as she comes off that fast, flat section on the river, flicking through her gears and keeping that cadence high, and that's the damage. She's really setting this up, and Spivey, who we know he can ride a bike, is the one on the chase. Steinhauser from the Scorpions got on the back, which was a big ride from her after being a fair way down in the swim.
Yeah, that could be crucial as well as this one unfolds, but this is the chase group, if you like, with Spivey, Matthias, and last week's winner, Leher, on the front of it and doing plenty of work. Yeah, you're right, Steinhauser crossing the gap there, Fulliger doing the job as well, and then a further 5 seconds back to the group led by Lombardi and Erica Ackerlands, but they are seeing already time now disappearing. And looking down the other end, Jimena de la Peña, who her main goal coming into this one was to beat Fanny Zelai at the Rats Zelai's 12, as it looks like someone's come off here.
That's Spivey,
one of the Warriors. I don't think it's Spivey.
No.
We'll confirm who that is. It's tough to see the number as into transition, and just about definitely taking the bike short shoot will be Kate Woff, as long as her transition is clean. In it goes. Of course, we can see the manager there, Michelle Dillon, barking instructions.
Michelle, so take it easy. You've got some time. It's a 1K run now. Bank that up. Get through this. She'll win this stage. She'll take the short shoot now. That'll be valuable.
Yeah, Michael Thompson, race director, holding up the Shark sign for the short shoot. Of course, a bit of a trouble there for Matthias. Doesn't rack her bike correctly. Has to go back again. That short shoot can be given to anyone in the Sharks, as can the Warriors one. Still more problems for Matthias. She's losing the pack. Leher is out. Spivey is out, and she has stopped running. She's been dealing with an ankle injury, and that could be her race done. Taylor Spivey, who finished third last week, who was in the box seat, really, without any Beth Potter or Sophie Colwell, to win this one, has pulled out on the run.
She talked about it last week. She did mention a bit of pain in the lower leg last week, so obviously preferring to sit out this one. She did so well in London last week when she finished third, and the athletes, of course, only having to race 2 races and the final to count in the overall series. So maybe sensibly sitting the run out here if she's feeling some pain, as we watch Woff running almost away with this in this early stages of this race, but Jan Leher not letting her get too far down the road.
Yeah, Jean Leher, one of the fastest run times last year, was the quickest out on course last week. Can she run this down? That is the big question. The Sharks and the Warriors with the short shoots. The run short shoot still up for grabs. Now, Kate Woff can't win a second short shoot for the Sharks, but she can deny the Eagles and the Scorpions from picking one up. A little look behind from Leher, but she knows she has to limit this damage lest she lets Kate Woff get away with it.
You're not going to let Kate Woff get away with it. As you said, stage 3 is off a pursuit start. Time matters. You're going to see every woman in this chasing bunch fight for time. They're not going to ease up.
This is interesting. Verena Steinhauser from Italy leading that chase pack, and I just noticed Leonie Perriot tucked in there as well. She lost a huge amount of the swim. Not sure what's happening here. This is not looking great.
That was the crash, maybe, off that bike.
So Woff heads under the bridge, and now she is down at Riverside, coming back in to end stage 1. And we head down now to Becca Charlton, who is alongside Taylor Spivey.
Taylor, we had a chat in London. I know how much you were suffering with injury. Is that what's ultimately forced you out today?
Yeah, I made a decision with my coach to not do the run here today, and it was tough to just come out here knowing that I wasn't going to do it, but I think it's the right decision for the races later in the season.
And it's so important that you keep that overview, because pushing it today could put you out in the future.
Yeah, it's either finish this race and set me back, or, prioritize Malibu and Neom later on.
We'll let you rest. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Interesting there that, there's the shark in the background on the right-hand side. Interesting there that Spivey said she knew she was going to do this. So she's driven 3 hours from her hometown, knowing she came to get points for the team. Likely 6 points for the swim. We'll see as Woff picks up the last short shoot, denying the Eagles and the Scorpions, and then looks around and thinks, how much time have I put into this group? The time is ticking from as soon as she crosses the line, as Spivey consoles Jimena de la Peña, who I think was eliminated earlier on. Lahair, 12 seconds the gap between last week's winner from the Eagles and last week's 5th place getter. Van der Kay, Perriot and Steinhauser all do well at the back end. Zelai had a great run to finish 7th in that one, 26 seconds back. Fulliger, Alice Beto is there. Lopez, who fell back after that great swim, probably picked up the swim points. They can do a quicker swim in the second stage, and Tilia Nima 14th overall, 40 seconds back, covering the top 14. So already we're seeing the field just about blow apart, and that time is ticking. The 3 minutes, starts from when the first person crosses the line. So if you cross a minute back, you've got less time to recover. It's really brutal, this format, isn't it?
That's a tough day at the office. But it starts with a run now, so you've come off a big, hard 1 kilometre run, and now you've got to kick off this second stage with a run start. Completely different feeling of a triathlon event, finishing with a swim.
Woff, though, she looks calm and controlled as Foley crosses the line, and then Shabalina crosses the line, and they're going to have much less time, and they're going to be on the verge of being eliminated by the 90-second rule, very close in the second stage, whereas Woff looks calm and composed, projecting exactly what she wants to project here.
Une première partie de ce triple mix qui a tenu toutes ses promesses, donc avec, encore une fois, comme à Londres.
Okay, such a strong start to stage 1. How was it out there?
Yeah, I didn't even realise I had a gap, to be honest. And then I realised I had one, and I just kept my head down and just went for it and tried to get every second round, every corner I could, and yeah, just keep pushing, get every second.
And just quickly, how do you refocus now?
Just forget about that one. This one's a new set, so just give everything into this one, and yeah, we'll focus on round 2.
We can't wait to watch it. Thank you so much.
All right, taking control there was Kate Woff, 12 seconds, big gap as we look back, and Taylor Spivey picked up some important speed on the swim, picked up the short shoot, did Victoria Lopez. But by the time they reached the end of the bike, it was all about Kate Woff, who put a lot of time, 15 seconds or so, into her competition. And picked up 2 of the short shoots as well. Crossed the line 12 seconds in front and 22 seconds in front of third. And they line up now for stage 2. It's been 3 minutes for Woff, it's been less for everybody else, and this time it is run first, which means back-to-back runs, and this is where we can see things really blow out.
I'd expect to see the likes of Lombardi and Perriot really take this out hard. They've got to pull back some time if they want to come back into this race and in contention for a podium position. But at the moment, Kate Woff just looking so in control.
Well, as we saw in that first race, getting into transition quickly off this first run can enable you to get that gap on the bike, which is critical to set up that last swim. So this run will be red hot.
Run, bike, swim. Tim Don, the Eagles manager, and Nick Chase, the Warriors manager, and we're underway again. Got to get a fast start off the line, cannot get caught up, and they are sprinting up the hill as Lahair tucks the goggles back in, and it's full gas from the gun.
Again, Kate Woff put herself in the right position, didn't she? Straight off that corner, up near the front, up against some super runners. Leonie Perriot came from the back in that last race to put herself in the, 4th across the line, so she's capable of a huge run. We know that from her results in the past. She's opting to sit back and maybe get through this carnage early and open up on that bottom section.
Interesting watching some of the athletes choosing to wear the swim hat during the run. It's pretty hot out there. I don't know if that's a sensible decision or not. It certainly makes it a lot easier because it can be tough when you're running at a 3-minute kilometre pace to try and get your hat and your goggles on.
But you've got to swim last, so you've got to get through the bike as well. It's strange to opt to put that swim cap. That means you're going to put it over your helmet.
Yeah, over the helmet. Which does. Surely you overheat during that because it is, as you say, hot and sticky. Anyway, 3 Eagles in the top 5 as Zelai tacks onto the back of this one. Lombardi there as well in 4th position. But Lahair knows that she has one main competitor out there right now, and she's right behind her. Lahair, second last stage, and Woff winning the stage. Lombardi, Zelai, and then a host of Scorpions coming in as well. But Tim Don, Eagles manager, will be very happy. Let's find out.
Tim, stage 2, of course, have just got underway. You're in a very strong position.
Absolutely. Jean really wants to get those run points for the team and then obviously for the overall series. She had a great first leg. Swimming's not her strongest and she put herself in a great position. You can see Emma Lombardi is also working her way up there. I think together they're going to work well on the bike.
And it looks like she is just about extending that lead out there, Tim.
Got to watch out for Kate Woff. She's riding amazing at the moment. So if she can catch her, that's great for us because they can work together to distance themselves for everyone else.
Thank you.
Leonie Perriot with a fantastic downhill run with Lahair off the front. Close that gap on Woff, knowing that there's safety in numbers with these 3. She can get that gap and close in on Jean Lahair.
Yeah, there's a real art to running downhill, isn't there? Some people think it's the easy part, but if you don't know how to do it technically well, you can lose a lot of time or gain a lot of time, as we're seeing. But Jean Lahair at the moment looking absolutely amazing. She's so full of confidence after that victory in London last week.
Yeah, French 1-2, and down the hill went Lahair and just gapped them. The question now is, though, what does she do on this bike? Does she come back to the group, or does she try and do the whole thing solo like Woff did? Obviously, it worked for her. Great shot as the drone follows along.
But look, the advantage of that group behind is you have Kate Woff there, and she's going to work very, very hard on that bike and potentially close the gap for you. So it's a great decision of that group behind to stay tight. Don't let the hair go off that front.
Well, they come in off the 1-lap run, and it is right at the end for the Eagles, and the split 3 seconds. Off they go. Great transition from Perriot. She'll come out towards the front, as will Lahair. So, French 1-2 in, French 1-2 out. Bit of a problem with the buckle for Lahair, so she loses the front spot, and that work she did on the run has evaporated. She comes out right beside her main race rival, Kate Woff, and now Woff is a fantastic swimmer, so if she can stay with Lahair, she'll feel like she can definitely protect that 12-second lead.
Great little group here up front. Lahair, Perriot, Lombardi and Woff. 4 excellent bikers, it really is. And this is a little bit of a breakaway group for me. Fanny Salai sitting in 5th place, a couple of seconds back. She doesn't quite have the skill or the experience, obviously, at the age of 15, I think, to go with this little group.
And that group behind was Steinhauser and Vanderkay from the Scorpions. Steinhauser, a massive bike rider, potentially could close that gap. And we have a Scorpions 3 in that front group, which would be lovely.
Not letting go of the Scorpions' roots is Chris McCormack. Now he's in the commentary box. Not even a little bit, as these 3 out the front continue to dominate this course. 4 now. Sorry, Perriot, Lombardi and Woff. So Lombardi, we haven't talked about her as much. She comes in as a debutante for Super League Triathlon, but she comes in, she's so young, but already with such an incredible pedigree.
Oh, she really has. She's had 6 consecutive top 10s in the World Triathlon Championship Series. She got 3rd in the European Championships last year. She's a former World Under-23 athlete, and I tipped her to make the podium here today, but she struggled on the first round for some reason, and that's inexperience, because I think some of these athletes coming into this off the back of Olympic distance racing have no idea just how quick the pace is.
They're railing this bike ride. Lahair finding it very tough. She struggled through that technical section. When Kate Woff came up, moved around to chase down Perriot on the front, Lahair really struggled for that technical section.
Yeah, they are putting time in, and you think your winner will come from this group of 4. Woff obviously with the advantage of 12 seconds. But they are not taking their foot off the gas one bit, and a big crowd enjoying all of this as they come through transition again. Onto the second lap of the bike, and it is a morning race, but it hasn't stopped the crowds from coming out, and we've had wonderful support from Toulouse Metropole and Marie de Toulouse for the city and for the region. Of course, the Occitanie region have put big support behind this race, which is fantastic, and these champions of the sport have felt welcome all throughout the week. here in Toulouse, which is just a magical city with a great vibe, and we are right in the middle of it here as WAF leads them down the technical section. And what you don't realise is that just how steep that is. So there's quite a steep drop off there. It doesn't show really as well here. And that corner is, if you can hit it on the inside, it's a nice on-camber corner. But if you go a bit too wide, suddenly it drops off quite steeply. So the technical aspects of this course it can't be underestimated. And these women are making it look easier than it is.
Kate Woff is railing this bike. He put Leonie Perrier under stress, and Jean Lahair again struggling through that technical section, leaving a gap that could open up right now. Kate Woff is gone.
All right, so it comes down to eagles and sharks, and there's a scorpion in there. So we've got two of the managers head-to-head alongside Rebecca.
Tim, just chasing Tim Don over here. It looked like Jean Lahair had a really neat transition, but then she looked to struggle with her helmet strap. What happened?
I didn't actually see that because Emma was coming in and Fanny, so I was more focused on them. But she's carrying on racing, and you always race to the line and to what the top official says.
It's so tight out there, Michelle. Kate Woff putting in a fine performance.
I want to see her on top of the podium today. I think we can do it. I'm going to give her the short shoot just to make sure that we get that, hopefully that win. Fingers crossed.
Not over till it's over.
Never over. Home crowd advantage.
Thank you, guys.
Don will claim any advantage he possibly can, won't he?
He really will.
So just looking at this, actually, really sorry to interrupt there, Macca, but Jess Fulliger has ridden up to this group.
Because Kate Woff sat up. Kate Woff sat up, sick of doing the time on the front. It's put Jean Lahair back into play, and Jess Fulliger's ridden straight onto the back of this group. That was a tactical error, I believe, from the two on the front.
She doesn't have to worry about her so much on the run because Jess still has a lot of work to do on her run. But I was interested before as well that Lahair was really struggling on the technical sections. Gone. But you're right. I think Woff has sat up, and she's allowed them all to come back together again.
Well, she's sitting on a 12-second buffer going into the pursuit start, and she probably looks around at the swimmers and goes, I can cover that.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm probably happy going into the final stage pursuit start with a 12-second buffer. I can stay away. So that is the question. Erica Ackerland, who's really the only warrior left in play, will pick up the Warriors short shoot. That will not affect this group. So Woff also will know, because her name will go up on the board, and there it is. It's about to go up on the board, that not only does she have a good swim, not only does she have a 12-second buffer, she also has the short shoot, the only one in the leading pack.
The ones that should have capitalised on that were Periel and Lombardi. They had the gap. They needed that distance on Lahair. They lost in that first round. They had the opportunity to pull back some of that time. And when Woff sat up, they should have come around and put down the hammer. They had the gap that could have been the deciding gap to close that time loss.
I think Lombardi is quite a threat still.
Yeah, I
might be
do too.
speaking out of term against Woff because she is by far the quicker runner. Woff has just been outstanding so far in the first stage and in this stage. But Lombardi now has found her legs. She's got the home crowd behind her, and she's capable of swimming with Woff, but also putting in a good few seconds. And let's not forget, the last stage is 2 laps, so it's 2 kilometres and not 1.
That's very true. First 2 stages are a 1 kilometre run. The last stage is a two laps of a I think it's 1.05 kilometres. It'll be a bit less for Woff though, because she gets to take the short shoot twice. So 34 seconds covering the top 18, and those times will all be added to the time differences from stage 1. And there will be some athletes that will not start stage 3 based on their combined times, because once you're 90 seconds back, you are eliminated from the race.
What we haven't talked about is this last swim to finish this stage. They've had, this is the 5th discipline they've gone through. This was a tough bike. We know Kate Woff can swim, but there's, Leonie Perriel's not renowned for a big swim. Either Jean Lahair. They need to get through this transition on a fatigued body. Makes this so difficult. It's such a tough thing to do, swimming after running and biking.
Nick Chase will be a little unhappy with how the Warriors have gone. There's 3 right down the bottom. Spivey's obviously pulled out. Bella Pena eliminated. And Megan Foley is on the bubble too at this point. Tim Don, on the other hand, picking up plenty of points as they head out for the last discipline in stage 2, which is a 300-metre swim. And it's a group of 5 who will work together. And sitting there, I think, in basically no man's land was Rena Steinhauser, who will be looking swimming on her own.
Tardy from Lombardi. So yeah, that Lahair put herself in the right position, right on Kate Woff's feet.
Hardier from Fulliger, who has just lost it completely.
Oh, my word.
Steinhauser straight past, just not organised enough, Jess Pulliger, and we've seen it happen before. In fact, this time last year, Johnny Brownlee nearly dived in with his helmet on, so it happens to the best of us.
That was a classic, wasn't it? Watching him so happy with himself, legging it down to the swim with his helmet on. But I think when the athletes are in the red like they are continuously in this sort of racing, I think that mental power as well, you lose it because you lose the ability to be able to think properly.
So Woff out the front, and she's probably the strongest swimmer in this group. So she'll sit on the front. The others will look to stay in and not lose any more time, although...
Lahare's tagged those feet. Lahaire put herself into that position. She got straight on Woff's feet after transition, and that's the best seat in the house. She'll get towed all the way along, especially as they make that left with the current, punching them straight into the face.
Yeah, we've seen the current, people struggle with the current a little bit, and you can see the gaps there now. 44 seconds once they got through transition, so it blew out another 12 seconds. So Woff needs to measure it way in. As we look at the podium predictions, there are still people who are backing Lombardi. There are people who are backing Lahaire after what she did last week, but Woff is in the box seat, and the Warriors struggling. The Scorpions, though, picking up some points. Let's head down to Michael Gilliam, the team manager.
MG, you're stood by Perriot's bike here, and she's well up there in the swim.
Yeah, but not as good as we have to be, but better than London. Maybe we'll be better in the third round. We're getting better with the ladies as we go.
MG, we'll let you go. Thank you.
That's his version of putting a positive spin on things, I think, Macca.
At times I think, wow, so motivational, MG, so motivational.
But I tell you what, look at Steinhauser.
Steinhauser's having an absolute cracker, as is Van der Kay.
Yeah.
They put themselves in the hunt. Leonie's right up the front. She benefited from that group away. We've got a long day of racing to go. This pursuit starting round 3, but I think the women are really putting a lot at front here, and Kate Woff's having a phenomenal performance today. She's just dominated every discipline she's done. She's been there in the run, and her swim has been remarkable.
I think just being up there with Sophie Colwell and Beth Potter last week, all of the Sharks were up there, but knowing that she could run with them until just towards the end would have given her a big shot of confidence. And then Colwell and Potter sit this one out and come back in Malibu, and she's thinking, I'm the most experienced, I'm the one that can lead this team, and she did that from the first lap of the bike. Sat in on the swim, had a great swim, and then just took off and hasn't been headed since then, and she'll protect her lead coming into stage 3. And I think this is going to be just like her partner Max Stapley did last week, also for the Sharks. You know, he had a big confidence boosting race, finished 5th overall, but led for large portions, and now Kate's doing the same thing.
She's just been passed.
Yeah, by Lombardi.
By Lombardi.
So she's been overtaken by Lombardi. I think Lahaire is just hanging on, and actually Perriot's had a decent
swim.
Yeah,
a great swim for Leonie.
Because as you said, that's the toughest swim that they're going to face in the triple mix.
All right, this last part, extremely important. Lahaire needs to get out quick and try and take some of that time back.
Swim.
Just get 1 second, Tim Don. Push, 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 push. Try and take a second back. That's going to count. Make the turn, head up the finishing chute, and Woff knows that she needs to limit this, and there's some big cheers for Lahaire. Woff sticking in behind, though. Maybe it'll be half a second, and that might just help. In fact, it was exactly half a second. Lombardi off the back, comes across the line. She loses a little bit more time, and a good swim from Leonie Perriot for the Scorpions, who crosses in 4th for this stage, and will get the pursuit start times as soon as possible. But a little add to the advantage for Kate Woff. Matthias in 5th, 20 seconds in arrears. I wonder what this discussion is. I'm hearing that there's a disqualification potentially for Lahaire. We'll find out why and what happened there, but she does not look happy.
Oh, that's huge.
Oh, wow.
I'm hearing the helmet came undone, or the helmet wasn't done up.
Oh, that's huge. She's been a major player in this racing.
And let's have a look back and see exactly what happened. But there is only one way you can really get disqualified in Super League Triathlon racing. Everything else is a penalty, and that is for not having your helmet done up properly. So she's gone to do it up there.
Oh, it's undone.
It's undone there. And then she stopped.
If it's undone as she crosses the line, it's a DQ.
It's not undone as she crosses the line.
Wow. It looked like it came undone, but she stopped before the line and did it up, so...
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll get clarification on that, or we'll try to, because she only took about 3 steps with it undone before she stopped.
She's out.
So the rule must then be that you cannot take your bike off the rack without having your helmet done up first.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I think that is the rule. Yeah, that is the rule in triathlon.
Oh, that's terrible news.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can see
Let's
that
open
she's
this race
extremely
right up.
unhappy because this is her home race. And Kate Woff will be thinking, this is not the way I want to win it, but it's just gotten easier.
She's going to have an enormous lead over the chasing bunch now. It was only Lahair that put herself in between her and the big group of about 4 women.
That is a tough decision for the ref to make, but without a doubt in World Triathlon that is the case. If you take your bike off the rack without your helmet done up, that's it, it's a DQ. And we can just see Tim Dunn now trying to console Lahair, and this is a really difficult situation for Jean Lahair.
Well, it's a game of inches, Super League Triathlon. We've seen it happen to people time and again, and it only took a few steps, and that's what ended Lahair's home race. As we get ready for stage 3, and we'll find out what the gaps look like, and right at the front is the Brit, Kate Woff. Let's have a look back at how stage 2 played out, and rocketing down the hill was the Lahair, who knew she had a 12-second gap to make up on Kate Woff, and that was the moment, that point right there, and you can see on the right of your screen the race director telling Lahair there's going to be an issue, and of course there was at the end of the stage. Woff was looking around, saw Lombardi on her shoulder, Lahair caught back up to that group eventually, and in the mix, finally seeing a Scorpion near the front, was Leonie Perriot. Time was made up and time was very much lost at this stage. Jess Bulliger saw her race disappear into the distance of the Garonne.
I'm struggling to see without a screen.
She was struggling to put her swimming cap and goggles on. And when it came to the swim, it was Lahair and Woff at the back end of the race. But Woff continued. Lahair DQ'd straight after, which leaves Woff with, I think, a 30-second
huge
gap to the rest of the field.
That's a real tragedy.
All right, so that is how it all stands, and if my maths is correct, and we'll find out in just a second, it's 30.2 seconds between Woff and the rest of the field, led by Lombardi.
It's huge, you know, with that disqualification, it opens it right up. Jean Lahair was the only aggressive racer outside of Woff that was setting this race up. She swam amazingly for an athlete who's renowned as not a great swimmer. To go over the top of Kate Woff and then to be DQ'd is huge. But, you know, maybe the group can work with each other on the bike to close down gaps on Kate Woff, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, we shall see, but Lahair won that one by half a second, it was in the end, from Woff, and then of course she was disqualified. Lombardi was strong, Perriot was strong, so the French contingent 3 in the top 4, which is great for the crowds here in Toulouse. And now it is time for stage 3, and the pursuit starts. So Kate Woff, I think, will start 30.2 seconds ahead of Emma Lombardi for the last bike, swim, run. Now, they will run to their bike and transition onto the bike for 4 laps, and then into the water for 300 metres, and then 2 laps at the back end. Kate Woff has the short shoot. She has 30 seconds. It is her race to lose, and she knows it. She's never won here at Super League Triathlon. Lombardi, Perriot not far behind her. Steinhauser a further 15 seconds back. So Lombardi and Perriot will need to work together if they're going to do anything about Kate Woff. But look at that look in her eyes. You almost think, well, she knows.
Yeah, looking incredibly relaxed just ahead of this start now for the final stage.
And Woff is off, and it is going to be an extremely long half a minute for Emma Lombardi and then Leonie Perriot, as on goes the swim cap and then on goes the bike helmet on top of that. Let's just add that to the list of things you never see anywhere else but Super League Triathlon.
It makes for a quicker transition. Kate Woff will be very, very comfortable. She liked to be out on her own. We saw that in stage 1. Tardy transition again, but that's probably fatigue. This is where these women here, relatively close together, need to either work together or race solo. We'll find out.
All right, Michael Thompson, here's the boom gate. letting the athletes through. Steinhauser has to wait 14 extra seconds off the back of these two French women. Lombardi, the former under-23 world champ, and Perriot, one of the athletes with a bit more experience in this kind of racing. Erica Ackland picks up one short shoot, as we know. The American from the Warriors, who is mid-pack at the moment, but still the leading warrior, and Woff, who's off the front and be able to take that twice on the run.
It's going to be tough for the women behind. Kate's very comfortable on the bike. She showed all racing that she's the best bike handler amongst the women. I think they're going to enjoy the fact that they've got no one else around, and this is all in now. There's nothing to save for. So you get your own lines. You're going to see most of the women behind having no one with them, so they just put their head down and go for it.
At this point, Kate Woff has just got to ride sensibly. We can see there, Lombardi is, wow, I mean, losing so much time there. And Kate Woff, I thought that Lombardi would be swimming better, and I was very surprised to see her come out third in the water. But I think this is the first time she's raced Super League, and it's a pretty decent performance from the former under-23 world champion. But at the moment, Kate Woff, all she has to do is ride sensibly, ride within herself, not take too many risks. See, she's got so much in her advantage, and if we can see
this will be an interesting group, Steinhauser and that's Matthias.
Yeah, it's Olivia
Steinhauser will go hard. She was one of the best bikers in last year's series. She's comfortable on a bike. She's been one of the best performers on the bike today. She's been let down with the swim. She'll like the open road now and the ability just to push and use her strength to close gaps and set up a position in that top 5.
Yeah, bike splits wise, Steinhauser, her best is 7th in this, but Kate Woff has had the 2nd and 6th quickest bikes overall, and that's the total bike, not just the lap. Fulliger had picked up the two of the 3 quickest bikes, so the Sharks have basically dominated between the 2 of them, but Fulliger lost it at the start of that swim, whereas Woff has continued with the complete game in this one.
Isn't it interesting? We thought it would be a harder day for the women in the Sharks team with Sophie Colwell and Beth Potter sitting it out, but actually they're pretty impressive because Olivia Matthias is not far off. She finished 6th last year, sitting in around about 5th place. Now we can see her now with Steinhauser. I'd say Matthias is probably around about the same over the run with Steinhauser.
Steinhauser's made up a couple of seconds in that lap on the field thus far, so she will be looking to repeat the heroics of Taylor Reid and vault the Scorpions onto the podium here, alongside Perriot too. If we could put 2, or the Scorpions could put 2 on the podium, that would be a big win for them, and they need it too. They are fighting with the Eagles for 2nd place overall. Lombardi, meanwhile, hasn't managed to take any time out of Woff whatsoever. And the podium predictions haven't updated, as you can see down there. So predict now on the QR code and probably predict Kate Woff, because Jean Lahair is out of this race, which puts Kate Woff in the box seat if she can have an incident-free couple of laps here on the bike. And a lovely aerial shot showing the Place de la Dorade alongside the Garonne, which is where we are all situated here for this one. And the crowds lining the wall where they get a view of twice.
Gap, big gap. What Leonie Perriot needs to do is close that gap if she can to Emma Lombardi. Both the French girls could potentially work together. She needs to close that gap because Emma is a stronger swimmer and she was able to use her in that swim in that last stage.
Yeah, I'd like to see Emma and Leonie go head-to-head on the run. Both great runners, but this is a course that will really suit Leonie Perriot, I think. She's very skilled as a runner, running up and downhill as well, as we saw previously in the earlier stage.
But that gap's starting to open to Leonie. It's probably about 4 or 5 seconds. Leonie knows if she can get the back wheel there, she gets that easier swim off this bike.
Huge gaps
now.
Yeah,
it's gotten a lot bigger. 6 more seconds Woff's put into Lombardi on that bike lap. Perriot all alone there in 3rd. Steinhauser doing her best. She's now taken an extra 2 or 3 seconds out of that gap to Perriot, and Matthias is helping her do that, while Fulliger is all by herself looking to hold on to 6th position. Vanderkay, Alice Beto, and then Fanny Zalai potentially looking at a top 10 result after 15th last week.
Look at Steinhauser on the back and Matthias sitting on it. We know Matthias is a fantastic swimmer. There's a long way of this racing to go, and when you look at that 2 through 4, that group could come together And then it comes to a run shootout, which puts Leonie right in the box seat.
And this is a good day for the Sharks. Jess Fulliger hanging on there too as well. She's a great swim biker. A bit of work to do on her own. We can just see Fanny Salai there coming around the corner. A great day for the 15-year-old, because to come here and race like that, she doesn't have the experience. And it's not just the racing, is it? It's stepping up to the occasion.
Well, when you think about it, Yemena de la Pena, second in the World Junior Championships in Hamburg. Her one goal was to beat Fanny Zalai. Fanny Zalai has streeted her.
Yeah.
So a big one. Let's head down now to Rebecca Charlton.
That gap is quite simply huge.
Do you know what? We had a plan going into this race that she was going to go out there and smash the bike, but I didn't quite expect this today. She's in phenomenal shape. She's taking opportunities where she could, and it's eventuated to this right now, and I can't be happier for her. You know, I just want to get her off the bike now so she can get on the podium, on the top of that podium today. She's never done that before. It's just so exciting for her.
Michelle, thank you.
It certainly is. Woff, big star. Well, you say star of the future because she's still under 23 world champion, but she's a star of now. She finished second in the World Juniors back in 2017. She's now moved this year from Leeds to Portugal, where she trains alongside Miriam Casillas and Taylor Spivey. She had a top 5 in Yokohama in the World Triathlon Series, and she has come on since debuting in Jersey in the juniors race back in 2018. And now she is about to potentially win. And that last little risk of being on the bike and maybe taking a tumble is now over. And now she has a 2-kilometre run.
No,
she has to swim first and then a 2-kilometre run.
And this is what she's renowned for, her swim. So she'd be very, very comfortable going in now. She's got open water, her own sight lines to the buoy. It's a foregone conclusion. Unless something happens now, cramps, it's going to be very, very difficult to get over the top of her now.
I can't imagine having that much gap going into the water with just 300 metres. So
someone's down.
Oh, Steinhauser.
Oh, no.
Run.
No, I think it's Nicole
no,
van der Kay.
Van der Kay, it is too.
Yep. She was finishing quite well, Van der Kay. She was 9th last week, and now she's got an issue with the chain as we look for the replay. And she's coming into the 2. Oh, dear.
Crashed into a teammate.
Beto and Van der Kay have come together, and she does not look in good shape either. And she looks to continue with the race. Now, the Kiwis are made of tough stuff. That was a big crash.
She's hit her face as well, coming down as well. And that's interesting. I'd like to see that replay again. I kind of missed it. Did she try to come up on the inside?
Looked like she came up on the inside and just got closed out as the gutter kicked out and just lost that room. Bang.
Yeah, we'll see if we get another look at it again, and we'll take another look. And here it is, and she was on the inside as we head up, and it looked like Beto...
Yeah, she closed that gap on her.
Closed into her, and she definitely wouldn't have seen her. And...
Costly.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts the Scorpions, but more than anything, it hurts Nicole van der Kay, and we hope she's okay.
She was sitting up in 8th position, so that was 7th and 8th. Puts your big points on the line for the team. There's Beto there in 7th. He was 7th and 8th position. Lopez now taking that 8th spot.
If you look at those times, the eliminations that are about to arrive when they finish the swim, Lopez will be gone, Hauser will be gone, Salai will be eliminated, and there'll be 7 left, which is nearly a record, considering how far ahead in this she is. So back in 2018, I want to say Katie Zafiris eliminated everyone but 6. There was 6 total. Kate Woff is about to eliminate all but 7 in this one, which is quite crazy.
I think we'll lose Beto as well, because 3 seconds to go. Yeah, Alicia Beto. I'm just wondering, she's been out of the sport for some time, and that was quite a big mistake she made on the bike, I think, swerving into her teammate. But this is racing, and accidents happen.
Let's find out whether MG is of the same mind. We'll go down to Rebecca right now.
MG, Leonie Perriot is sat in 3rd position at the moment, looking good.
Yeah, fighting spirit of the French, we really appreciate it. But unfortunately, luck's not on our side. We've had a crash with one of our other girls, Van der Kay, so what can I say? The London luck continues to hit us upon the nose. Yeah, and I don't know about the victory. I wouldn't take this victory. The motorbike, that girl's amazing. Put her in the Olympics for the bike.
Oh, he's disappointed, the old MG. Tell you what.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you can blame the motorbike or anything else for the kind of dominance that Kate Woff has displayed, because she has been absolutely superb all the way throughout this race. Right from attacking the first bike, and now you can see the gap back there. And on paper, that's, what was it, 45 seconds? It'd take me about 3 minutes to swim that far. But for these athletes, 45 seconds gap back, as Kate Woff will look to run it home. She has the short chute in the pocket, and she will get the opportunity now, barring incident, to just soak this up.
Oh, she can really enjoy this moment. I just looked back and saw that the nearest swimmer to her was only just coming around that last buoy. So she has an absolutely huge advantage, and she can afford to kind of really relax into this run and really put no pressure. And as she said, just enjoy the crowds. They might be disappointed that it's not a French athlete, but Leonie Perriot was sitting in third position. Lombardi is still up there as well, so they've still got something to cheer for here in Toulouse.
And what's the form guide on Lombardi v Perriot on the run? Leonie, a magnificent runner, especially over the longer distance here, 2 kilometres.
Yeah, I think Emma's a little bit tired today. I think she's so new to this style of racing. First time she's raced on the Super League Series, and I think that Leonie Perriot, if they come out of the swim together, will get the better of Emma Lombardi. But look at Kate Woff. She looks like she's on the first stage, doesn't she? Hardly breathing, as we can see now. That is Lombardi making her way out of the swim. She's got a bit of a gap by the looks of things on Leonie Perriot.
Who's getting out now, joined by Matthias. Big swim by Matthias.
Yeah, another big swim. She was so strong last week, second fastest swimmer, and this is your podium chase. The young Frenchwoman, Emma Lombardi, her debut, and she just continues to impress across all sorts of distances and formats. And I think a debutante finishing second step on the podium would be up there with one of the great debut performances, no doubt. Perriot behind her.
This is the race to watch. Perriot v Lombardi. A French race-off.
9 seconds.
9 seconds over 2K. Both of them looking for Olympic selection, so...
Oh, my gosh, this is an interesting race.
So Lopez has managed to swim her way back in under the 90 seconds. So there will be 8 who will finish this race if she transitions well. The eliminations will be coming thick and fast below that, as Kate Woff continues to put time into this field. And the advantage of having that initial gap of 12 seconds, having had a hard stage 1, is that you can potentially look around and measure your efforts a little bit more, whereas everyone else is going hammer and tongs to catch you up. And that is why she has a little bit left in the tank here in the last run.
Then Lombardi going around the corner, making her way to the downhill section. And what do you reckon, Macca? She's got back a couple of seconds or two?
Yeah, Leonie gets that run rhythm going. She uses the downhill. We saw in that last stage, really used the downhill well. The advantage for Leonie in third position there in the red, barring victorious, is that she has Lombardi to look at, to pace off and to close that gap. Much easier to be in that position than to hold athletes coming at you from behind. There's another casualty.
That's Salai,
who
has finished, I think, in the top 10, did she?
But she went along.
Yes, I think 9th overall, which I think is outstanding. Survived this race quite a lot longer than she did last time around, when she had a bit of a crash in London. But yeah, here is the battle for second place on the podium. Crucial team points, crucial championship points, and of course being the top French woman in front of a big French crowd here in Toulouse. And it is a 2-lap run, just to remind you, so there is still plenty to go in this one, about 1.4 Ks, and a lot can change in that as they head downhill, and Perriot really put time into the field too on the downhills.
Here's her downhill running, Leonie. Interesting, Lombardi not looking back at all, so she's found her rhythm. She's not concerned on where Perriot is, which is a positive sign for her.
I think she should be.
Yeah, it's when you start taking those glances back, you're starting to second-guess how you're feeling, and that's when you start to let the self-doubt creep in and gaps close a lot more rapidly. And as long as you're looking forward like Kate Woff is right now, she knows she's looking up the screen to see the gap.
Well, she can't get the gap. She doesn't look behind her. She can't see what the gap is either, because she is so far ahead of everybody else. It's nearly a minute right now, and that means there is 8 left in this race. And Kate Woff has put down a marker for this season. She's saying with 5th and 1st, she is right there in the championship standings. She's a contender. Maybe she's not. She's about to win her first race, but maybe she's not just a race winner. Maybe she's a championship winner, and that would change everything. Here comes the battle for second and third.
Leone is closing the gap.
Angle.
I think she's closing the gap.
Oh, she's definitely closed. It's down to about 5 seconds now as she passes that bin, counting. It does, the camera angle foreshortens it, but amazing from Woff, it really is. 800 metres to go before she finds herself on top of the podium, and never been on the podium as yet in a Super League Series event. She was 6th, 13th, 11th, and 11th, and 10th last year, as we see Lombardi go through an MG there, trying to encourage Leone Perriot.
And the battle between Lombardi and Perriot continues. Let's see what Tim Don has to say about it.
Tim, a brilliant performance out there by Lombardi.
Oh, what a run. You know, she's new to Super League this year, and for a home crowd to come up there, she had a tough race in Paris. I'm so impressed. She got bike points as well, and that was really hard to do in this game.
Fanny Salai was looking really strong. Unfortunately, she's out.
But again, Fanny is racing Olympians, world champions who are seniors. She had a great race. She's learning. By Neon, she will be on fire. A top 10 from her. I couldn't be prouder for Fanny. Could not be prouder.
She's just wonderful. Thank you.
Well, while we were hearing that, Leone Perriot has put the hammer down and taken second place.
She used that uphill well. She put the hammer down on that uphill. Lombardi was struggling a little bit, and not only did she go past her, she hit her hard or straight over the top, and that gap's opened.
I tell you what, this is what I love about the triple mix, because if we look at the first stage, Leone Perriot was actually 20 seconds and more behind over a 300-metre swimming. You would have thought at that stage she's dead and buried, and now she's running for second place.
You can break the spirit. You see Lombardi, when I was saying she wasn't looking back on that lap one, face is very, very different now. Suddenly from second position, she may be challenged at third. I think the gap's big enough, but you know that the spirit's broken. And that's what Leone's experience did. She used that hill remarkably well.
You know what? If I was Kate Woff, I'd just not take it. It's just a pure message to the rest of the field. Not required.
I can win without a short shoot.
I don't need a short shoot. That's completely fine. But Perriot, I mean, she's got experience. 29 years of age. She's French, European, and world mixed team relay champion. She knows how to dig deep. She helped her team to a bronze medal in the mixed team relay in Tokyo, and she's had great results. And look at the smile on the face of Woff, who's allowed her emotions to shine through because she sees absolutely no one around her. And Perriot will be thinking the same very soon as well. But here in Toulouse, there has never been a French winner of this race. There was a Brit last year in Georgia Taylor-Brown, and now the torch has been handed on to another Brit, Kate Woff, who was hoping for a podium, just wanted to hit the bike. Her fist pumps the air, and why not? Kate Woff has announced herself as a contender in Super League Triathlon with a dominant performance. Kate Woff, welcome to Super League. And welcome to the top step. Michelle Dillon gets the first hug. Max Stapley's about to race. He takes time too. What an effort from the Sharks, who continue to dominate the teams. There's simply no one else around.
They didn't expect that today, and here comes Leone Perriot. Lombardi has tried to hang on, but Perriot now has got a really decent gap flying home. The French crowds in Toulouse are going to be ecstatic to have two of their athletes on the podium.
Nearly a minute back, but the first French woman to cross the line is 29-year-old Leone Perriot, who is in her first race of the year, but definitely not her first Super League race. And she ran it home. That's exactly right. Ale Leone and also Ale Emma, who finishes on the podium in her debut. A strong, solid race from Lombardi.
That long run hurt Lombardi.
She's only 21,
yeah,
right?
She's got a lot of future ahead of her.
Oh, big future, big future.
Three of them are streets ahead of the other five who are left in this race. And the next person to come across the line will be Matthias, who I think saw the writing on the wall having got out of that swim with Perriot. And then Steinhauser, Eliche Beto, who will finish this one as well, along with Jess Fulliger, who lost time at the start of that swim, and Lopez, who has just held on as well. But we'll head down now to the black carpet, to Rebecca and to Kate Woff.
Kate, you absolutely dominated from start to finish. How happy are you with that performance?
Honestly, I'm absolutely over the moon. That was absolutely mad. It was so fun. Yeah.
I think mad sums up that race format, doesn't it? The epic triple mix. We love to see it, but how was it out there? How do you keep your head in order?
Honestly, I felt like I was absolutely railing around the corners to the point where I was losing my back wheel a couple of times. So on the last couple of laps of the bike, I was like, okay, I've got to get out now, just calm down, like, just keep your head. But yeah, I went absolutely full gas, and by the last run, I was absolutely, my legs were gone. And at one point, I heard someone shout, oh, you got 50 metres on the person behind, and I was like, what? So I was looking around frantically, like, is there someone I can't see? But I think, yeah, they must have got confused or something.
I mean, that gap was huge, but also, here at Super League, we see people throwing up, laying on the floor. I promise you, you look totally fresh.
I think that's just crazy adrenaline right now. I knew I had a good chance of getting on the podium today, and I just decided to take each stage as it went and just go like absolutely full gas from the gun, and it paid off today. So yeah, I'm really happy.
It certainly paid off. You were absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you to all of Toulouse who have come out to watch, and all of Super League for putting on this event. I'm so grateful.
Congratulations once again, Kate. That was so tight at the end. Talk us through that finale.
Yes, I'm very happy for my performance, and the first one is very hard for me, and I am happy for my team and for me, and from the atmosphere is very good in Toulouse. I am happy.
Yeah, I mean, for you in particular, these crowds must be very special.
Yeah, special. My career from a run in French is very special for me, and I am happy for my race.
How confident were you that you could move up to second on that final finish straight?
Yes, I am happy for my second place, and sorry, I don't know.
Do not say sorry. You're absolutely exhausted. Congratulations.
Thank you, sorry.
Oh my goodness, what a performance. You secured that podium. How are you feeling reflecting?
It was hard. It was really hard. Such short format, and you always at full gas. Yeah, I did my best with what I have today. But yeah, it was really interesting.
A bit of disappointment for your teammates. How aware of that are you when you're in the thick of the action?
During the second run, when we went for the bike, I just saw her in the middle, and I was wondering what she was doing. But yeah, the race kept going, and I heard she was disqualified just before we were going to the first stage. So yeah, I feel really sorry for her. Obviously, but we have two next stage to be better.
Certainly. Thank you so much. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
What a race that was for Kate Woff, but what a race it was overall as well. And we had a look at the last stage, and it was straight on to the bike where Woff had a very solid lead to protect. She did exactly that. Lombardi had a bit of a tardy start. She had a tough transition onto the bike, and then she had a little bit of difficulty getting the shoes on, which gave Perriot a chance to sight her, and those two worked together for a little while and then worked against each other once they knew that Woff was gone, and she definitely was. Transitioned well, heading into the swim, had a lovely swim all on her own, and that right there, though, was a big moment for Nicole van der Kay. We will find out if she is okay. We'll try to get some words from her as the men's race continues, but she really felt that tarmac there, and we feel bad for her. She continued on, I think, just to the next transition. Meanwhile, out the front, Woff was swimming perfectly, and then all she had to do was a 2-kilometre run with 2 short chutes, and she said it was the adrenaline, but she did look comfortable out there. She had that look that Katie Zafiris used to have when she was that far out the front a few years back, and she knew she had done the job, and that is exactly what she did. Dominated and sent a message to the rest of the field that she is a big threat for this championship series. as we look at the results. 46 seconds at the end. Through the top 5, 2 Scorpions in there. Steinhauser managed to scrape in to finish just a tick over the 90 seconds. And now it is time to go again. And Jonathan Brownlee, well, he has come here having finished 2nd overall in London. He will be looking to dominate, but there are plenty of new faces, led by Matt Hauser. Race wins last year. Race penalties, crashes as well. And alongside him at the Eagles, the 70.3 world champion from last year, the Ironman world champion, the world champion, Christian Blumenfeld, and the 2022 world champion, Leo Berger, who comes back to France to race and to lay more of a marker for his Paris Olympic hopes. Chase McQueen leads a relatively inexperienced Warriors lineup. And fresh off that podium, they're calling him the Chunder from Down Under after he painted the black carpet, finishing that race. Taylor Reid and Henry Schoon finishing 7th, boosted by having his family here on site. Finally, the other Scorpion, Hayden Wilds. We continue the build-up to the men's race, but currently the women's leaderboard at the halfway mark of the series. Sharks and Brits, 1, 2, 3. Waff, 4 points ahead of Matthias. Fulliger on 18. Jean Lahaire doesn't add to her tally from last week, having been disqualified, and 2 Scorpions in the top 6. Now it's time for the medal presentation down on the black carpet here in Toulouse.
President of the Sports Commission, and the champagne will be presented by Leonid
And handing out
Boguslavski, chairman of Super League
the medals,
Triathlon.
Christophe Delahaye, the regional councillor and president of the Sports Commission here in Toulouse. Handing out the champagne will be Leonid Boguslavski, co-founder of Super League Triathlon. And it was Emma Lombardi who ended up in 3rd position, putting 2 French women on the podium. And as we say, at 21 years of age, you almost come to expect it from Lombardi, but you forget how young she is and how quick this rise has been.
Yeah, and to walk straight into Super League racing and finish on your podium in your first attempt, wow, amazing.
The only thing that stopped her from finishing on the 2nd step of the podium was a fantastic run at the back end from Perriot, who lent on her experience and also her form as well, having finished 2nd in Montreal in the World Triathlon Series back in June. She's made a move to Versailles to train, and it is paying off. Leonie Perriot, a very popular podium getter, Annie.
Absolutely, great to see her. She's had a few ups and downs over the last year with injury, but great to see her on top of, or not on top, but back on the podium.
Absolutely, the newcomers who missed London coming in fresh and taking spots 3 and 2, but they couldn't do anything about Kate Waff, who disappeared on the first bike and never reappeared for the rest of the field.
Representing RTP
And
Sharks,
our championship leader and our race winner, Kate Waff. Mac, you've always been a big fan of Kate Waff, and this just proves you right, which I hate to say.
Oh, huge fan of Kate Waff. We called it a couple of years ago. She's just balanced across the 3 disciplines. We saw that today. She works so hard. Just a huge challenge. So much depth in British triathlon, but she is without doubt, one of the stars of the future, and I expect to see her in Paris.
That's a big call, Macca. That's a big call.
No, there's so many good Brits.
She's coming into it. She's coming into that form. We saw it today. She's continually racing. She's improving, you know, month by month.
Yeah, she is. There's going to be a very strong French team and a very strong British team as well when we get to Paris, which is, of course, just up the road from where we are right now as the sun continues to shine down on everyone, but especially on Kate Waff, who is enjoying immensely her time at the top of the podium, and in fact her first podium in Super League Triathlon racing. So as the women soak it up and the men get ready, we look forward to more new faces, led by none other than the Falcon joining the Scorpions, Hayden Wilds.
Yeah, like I was super gutted not to race for the team and miss London, you know. To call up and say I can't race, I haven't done that for like 6 years.
When I saw Hayden drop the bike, pull out on that run, I was mortified. My first thought was, okay, forget the Olympics, what about Super League? We need you next week in London.
Last year I was in the Sharks. To be betrayed by the team was, you know, it was hard on the heart, so let's see if we can bring the Bahrain team back. You know, there's still 3 more rounds and anything can happen, so let's do it.
Hayden is made of a certain steel.
He is just a fierce racer.
I think he's just got the specifics spot on for the Super League.
And that's why he's a winner.
Everything he does is building confidence. It's a snowball. He's rolling down a hill, getting bigger and bigger, and he's harder to beat.
Hayden Wilde is your series champion.
Not off the podium on any day of the series. Very worthy Super League champion.
I'm pretty stoked to race here again. Love the crowds in France, love the people, looking forward to it. It's a tough technical course, suits me well.
If you can ride, if you can throttle up, throttle down really well, you can hurt some people seriously in Toulouse.
Being full gas and being aggressive, that's rewarded me pretty well.
He just takes the risks and he goes for it.
It's so hard for me not to see myself on a podium.
He's put himself in this position, he's ready to deliver.
Hayden Wilde will be tough to beat.
The 2022 champion, but some people say that it was only due to bad luck that this man wasn't the 2022 champion. He comes back after COVID. It is Australia's Matt Hauser.
I think everything that happened in London.
There's the penalty for the false start from Matty Hauser.
They picked the wrong eagle.
It wasn't his penalty to serve. The officials made a big mistake.
I was human.
And then the crash, the disappointment of Malibu.
Oh, Matt Hauser's down in exactly the same place as Georgia Taylor Brown.
That's what you do for the race, eh? You like put your heart and soul into it. Pretty annoying, but...
What more could happen, and he could still fight on?
Matt won't quit. Matt Hauser will not quit.
Matt Hauser is your Munich champion, denied last week, takes it this week.
This is absolutely fantastic from Matt and just shows what a force he's going to be over the years to come.
Matt Hauser has fought back, the Australian with his second race win of the season, and you can see how much it means to him.
You know, technically he's getting better and better.
He's really starting to fulfil his potential.
Over the years, Matty Hauser's been there or thereabouts, but this year's different. He wants it. Matty Hauser has come in here to execute. He has come in here to win.
So Hauser and Wilde join this list, but they are not alone in being new names on this start list as we warm up for Toulouse round 2 of the Championship Series. Joining Hauser at the Eagles, Christian Blumenfeld, who has swept all before him in the last couple of years, and Leo Berger. Look out for Brownlee from the Sharks, Wild at the Scorpions, and over at the Warriors, the new name is Mark de Brick. But it is the Sharks we welcome out onto the black carpet first, starting with Dan Dixon, who finished 6th in London. His best is a 4th. He absolutely loves to race, does not miss one. Chris Perham is here as well, won the team's title with Bahrain Victorious last year. Plenty of SLT experience for him. But a new name, Jack Stanton-Stock, who made waves in the Arena Games. Max Stapley, who, well, look at him. They call him the Big Easy, and for a reason. Led the swim, finished 5th overall, and Johnny Brownlee 2nd in London. And we head down now to Michelle Dillon.
Pure dominance in the women's race. More of the same now.
Well, I really hope so. The women have set a massive benchmark now for our Sharps team in the men. The vibe is set, and yeah, I'm excited to see what these guys can do. They're very hungry today, so let's see what the Sharks can achieve out there.
They look hungry, Michelle, thank you.
She was looking for a pun there, but she couldn't quite get it over the line. The Santara Tech Eagles next out, led by Kenji Nina, who, by his own admission, didn't have the race he would have liked in London. He's looking for some redemption. Emil Holm, who is a great addition to the field after debuting last year. 4 top 10s for the Eagles last year. Christian Blumenfeld, world champion, Ironman world champion, 70.3 world champion, Olympic champion. And there is Matt Hauser coming back from a bout of COVID. And finally, we welcome out Leo Berger, the 2022 world champion. What a lineup, Tim Don.
Tim Don, what a team lineup. What can we expect from the men's race?
The Eagles are going to race with all heart today. You know, they're really pumped from the women's race. They've learned from watching it. They're going to be going full gas from the front. We're going to see a flock of Eagles flying high.
Love it, Tim. Good luck.
RTS Warriors.
Oh, it's a tough outing for the RTS Warriors in the women's, but let's see if they can turn it around in the men's. A tough swim, set up a tough race for Seth Ryder, but he was strong apart from that. Didn't feature. Mark Dubrick is the debutant, 28 years old, just coming off 8th in the 70.3 World Champs last weekend. Reese Vanderson took the run points. Look out for him on the run. Carter Stuhlmacher, also 18 years of age, is there, and leading this team, Chase McQueen, 9th in London, a former Arena Games winner. Look out for him in the swim with Matt Hauser, and here is Nick Chase to tell us about it.
Nick, these crowds are absolutely incredible. How much does this fire up your athletes?
Well, after the punches we took in that first round, I think the Warriors are built for this. They're fired up, and I cannot expect anything but the top performance from each and every one of my male competitors.
Nick, thank you so much.
The Bahrain Victoria Scorpions.
And finally out there is the Bahrain Victoria Scorpions, and there is Henry Schumann, who led the team last week, finished 7th overall, wants better, and he needs to start with a fast swim. Speaking of wanting better, Shahar Sagiv had a puncture last week. Roberto Sanchez Mandicon ran his way into 4th. He'll be looking for his first podium. Vitaly Vorontsov, the Ukrainian, and Taylor Reid, fresh off that podium, full of confidence. And finally, the Falcon, Hayden Wild, last year's champion, joins the team, and we'll try and get a word with Michael Gilliam.
MG, if I could just run in and grab you, tell us about this team, the Scorpions.
Well, finally, we're back to full strength, so we'll be ready to rumble. We won't be humble.
Brilliant stuff, MG. Thank you as always.
I don't know what's going on with all the rhyming coming from MG today. But
is it Eminem or MG?
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, you never know what you're going to get as we line up for stage 1. It is the traditional swim, bike and run, a 3-stage race. If you're just joining us, a short gap between each stage, so 3 triathlons back to back. The first one is in the normal order. Swim, bike and run, 300 metres, 4Ks and 1K. But every minute you lose in stage 1 and 2, every second is paid for in the stage 3 pursuit start. The crowd has built, and we are ready for what will be an incredible men's race. Here we go, Super League Triathlon Toulouse. The men are in the water.
See the start here. Henry Schumann on the far right. He wanted that position with no one on his right side so he could get some open water. He's really keen to get this swim preem if he possibly can and set his race up. He missed that last week with the congested start in London. He's already off to a great start.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Henry coming back. We know in years gone by he was so dominant in the swim, but after a bit of time out with injury, he hasn't really had the swims that we were used to seeing when he got the bronze medal in the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games gold, and we can just see there on the left-hand side of your screen the men's leaderboard. Alex Shee, of course, sitting out of this race, focusing on Pontevedra, the final of the World Triathlon Series, but he will be back
Matty Hauser
in Malibu.
Yeah, Matty Hauser right in the middle of the screen, off like a rocket ship. He's a massive swimmer, and flanked on the far left it looked like Max Stapley with that long loping stroke.
There's someone on the hip or on the shoulder now of Stapley as well, who I think is a warrior who's sitting in, but Stapley, the leading shark. Hauser in the middle in the white.
That'd
and
be
then
McQueen.
in the red, closest
That'd be
to
McQueen.
us, is Henry Schumann, who's losing time. But a representative from each of the 4 teams out the front, and the teams folding in behind them. Don't forget, you can predict the winner. So just hit that QR code on your screen with the phone. You get it with your phone camera, and if you know what that is, a QR code.
Are you being cheeky?
Yeah,
I know
100%.
exactly what it is.
Of course.
Look at that Hayden Wild way out in front though. Johnny Brown only down with 14%. I'd give him a few more than that, but this is a fantastic swim. Is that Chase McQueen?
It's Chase McQueen.
Yeah,
definitely.
it is indeed from the Warriors. Let's hope he can pick up some points, because at the moment the Warriors are struggling.
So Chase McQueen, he's having a fantastic swim, as he does. He also had the fastest bike here last year by 4 seconds.
Well, look at that, the Scorpions all on the back. That far right side with that current has not done them well. They saw them forced off that first swim buoy out wide. Henry Schumann had to go, so they're probably swimming at 10 or 15 metres further, and that gap could be significant.
Huge gap. That is a huge gap, and McQueen sitting out front enjoying a great run in as the Warriors were on the inside line. The current goes from screen left to screen right, so it's actually pushing you away from the first buoy. So they're fighting the Scorpions against the current as well. We do have a pontoon draw, so it is luck of the draw, and then you get to choose, and the Scorpions didn't get the choice they wanted. whereas the Warriors did, and that means they end up with prime position with a prime swimmer, McQueen, who was in a three-way swim battle, I guess, with Hauser and Taylor Reid last year, but Reid in the Scorpions and Scuban in the Scorpions haven't had the swim they would have hoped, and it's 3 Warriors on the front, just showing you how much that pontoon position has helped them, because there's not, I guess, excellent swimmers or the guys you think about as leading the front of the swim from the Warriors, except for outside of McQueen.
Just looking for the cap there of Hayden Wall. I haven't seen it bunched up there with the Scorpions. 32, that is Chase McQueen. A bit of a slip. It's a really slippy ramp out of the water. We see plenty of Warriors coming out.
Yeah, Dubrick and then Ryder, Hauser and Stapley are the top 5 in the swim. There's not much covering anyone though, and all that good work you can do in the swim can be evaporated with a tardy transition.
This
Looks
way.
good though. And short shoot.
Short shoot,
will go to the Warriors.
Well, they'll need that.
Just as it did with Victoria Lopez in the women's, it goes to the Warriors again, and it's 2 Warriors out first, and Hauser, who right now is on the part of the course that he was involved in a crash in last year, so he'll be putting that to bed, hopefully, mentally, as they all jump on and head on a 4-kilometre bike, and McQueen is looking around going, where is everyone to help me?
It was Wild and Blumenfeld together a bit further back than they'd want to be. Both those athletes will be very, very happy to work together and close gaps. There wasn't a much gap between the entire field. This is where bike skills will come into play, and we saw Hayden Wild, a bit like Kate Woff in the women's race, using his technical skills to open up on this bike course.
Yeah, just having a look, 15 plays at Blumenfeld, nearly 15 seconds down.
All right, we head down now to Rebecca, who will be very happy. Nick Chase.
Nick Chase, what do you make of that start?
This is pretty much what we knew was going to happen when we got that beautiful start, positions 1 through 5. We've selected this team based on a lot of personal strengths, and our swimmers are nothing to be trifled with. So these boys just now have to hold their own on the bike, go with the best in the world on the bike and the run, and I think that the Warriors have a chance in the men's field.
Good luck, thank you.
Johnny Brownlee has pushed his way up towards the head of the pack. He's tacked on to the back of Seth Ryder there, but there are 3 still out the front.
Hayden Wild still without his shoes on. A few of the athletes still opting not to put their shoes on, fighting for those positions to close those gaps. That's how important it is, and that was Christian Blumenfeld a fair way back, but we know he can ride a bike.
Well, he can, but how's he going to feel after coming from Finland, 70.3 World Championships last weekend, where he didn't fare too well, and then Singapore the week before that, Paris test event before that, as we see the athletes coming round. 6 seconds, Leo Berger in second place behind Chase McQueen, who's riding phenomenally well on this tough course.
Does McQueen stay out here and try and do a Kate Woff and put some time in early? I think he has to, doesn't he? He doesn't look like he's on the absolute button, but he needs to keep that gap away if he's going to come in and be able to measure his pace throughout this race in the same way that Kate Woff did.
It can be easier on the front. You've got your own lines to follow. You're not caught in that bunches. You're not having to jostle for positions. It can be very, very tight. The camera doesn't do it justice. It's a very, very tight, skinny French road, and it gets congested, especially as you come through this technical section. Chase McQueen can just use his own lines, come and ride his own race, run through his gears and keep his cadence high, and actually control his power, which sets him up for a better run.
It's not a comfortable bike ride when you're in a pack around here. There's a lot of sort of blind corners and changes of tarmac and, you know, little ruffles or little gutters, as we've seen. It's better to be on your own. And we'll head down now again to Tim Don to give us his update on how he thinks this race is panning out.
Second and fourth position for the Eagles as we last saw it, Tim.
Absolutely, and we've got Emil coming and Christian's riding so strongly. We really want to get to the front of the bike by the end of this round to really control the run, and then from there we can push on the second race.
How much more is there for you to think about with this race format?
I mean, you can see now Chase is not giving up, so fair play to him. But you've got Leo on the front, absolutely charging. You've got Kinji Nino, this is his kind of course. Maddie Hauser, and look at Emil Holmes. I'm loving it. Let's go, Christian.
We're loving it. It's so tight. Thank you so much.
The question I have is, where is Hayden Wild on this timing sheet?
He's
We're
there.
not seeing him
I've
right
seen him
now.
on screen. I just haven't seen him pop up on the timing chip even after the swim, but he's definitely there. I see that Red Bull hat he runs around in, the helmet.
No, he's not in the front pack, that's for sure. So not a great start for Wild.
Watch Bergier. He's technically efficient. He's been happy to sit on the front of this group. They've all benefited to those 4 athletes behind Chase McQueen. Leo loving this technical bike course, and he's the one that's opened that gap on Hauser, his teammate, who had his wheel after that first lap.
I can see Hayden Wild there with the Red Bull helmet, as you say, part of this group right here, so his timing chip's not working, so we'll keep the eyes on the Falcon as last year's race winner looks to build himself into this race. Now, Chase McQueen, 15 seconds slower on the run last year in Toulouse, so we'll see if that plays into this one. There is the QR code, so continue to predict who's going to win this race. Add your vote to the pile, and we'll see what the poll says as the race starts to take shape over the opening stage here of the triple mix here in Toulouse.
Great start for Johnny Brownlee, who finished behind Alex G in London last week. As the ref there rings the bell, just 1 lap to go of this 4-lap first stage here in Toulouse. But this is our chase pack. It's a little bit bigger. Oh, no,
that's the entire group.
McQueen's come back to the pack.
Just call it Leo Bergier. He has not got off the front. He moved straight to the front of the bike after closing that gap to Chase McQueen. He's been happy to take up the run of racing, and they've all benefited from that. He's the sole athlete that's established this break, without question.
Well, he's not stopping there either. He's staying on the front, and there's 2 eagles in there. There's a shark and a warrior as well, or 2 warriors. And no scorpions, Macca.
No scorpions. Johnny Brownlee and Kenji Neen have benefited from Leo Bergier. I think Johnny's going to unleash a massive run. He hasn't had to do the lion's share of work, which he's often happy to do. He's been able to benefit from having Leo there, who's amped up with this home crowd. He's a world champion, technically amazing, coming from the south of France, riding down those mountains around Nice, and he looks remarkable.
He does indeed.
Great to see Johnny Brownlee, though. You know, he's definitely in the twilight of his years or time of his career, and it's just great to see the 3 times Olympic medalist racing so well. He absolutely loves this style of racing, and at around about 32 years of age, this is really positive from Johnny Brownlee, who had a really poor Olympic test event in Paris just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, he backed that up, though, a week later with second.
Exactly, behind Alex G.
In London, behind Alex G, who's not here. So if Johnny can be there or thereabouts, considering the new names, then he might lead this championship. So there is a short shoot up for grabs, and it could be anyone's, whoever has the best transition. The Warriors already have one, but they can deny the other teams from picking it up, and that really could be crucial in this men's racing, which is always close. Who can get across the line first? It's going to be Bergier, and it's going to be the Eagles. Brownlee has a great transition too. McQueen, then Ryder, then Nina, who already has the swim cap on.
Look at Hayden through transition. Again, his transition's the key point of his racing. He's by far the fastest, and he's closed a lot of the gaps he lost in that swim. Schoeman just off the back of him.
Yeah,
Dixon and Blumenfeld.
I loved his interview where he said, I don't know myself if I'm not on the podium. I only see myself on the podium, and that's why he is the reigning champion here in Toulouse, and he's determined to make that happen again as he claws back the deficit from the early stage of the run. But look at Johnny Brownlee pushing the pace with Leo Bergier, the current world champion, on his heels.
He's a fit Johnny Brownlee's wonderful to watch, isn't he?
Oh,
He's
he is. I love it.
Beautiful racer. He, as we said, he benefited from that bike group. He was able to be very tactically smart, and let's hope he can unleash a big run, a Brownlee run, which we're so used to seeing.
Well, it certainly looks like a Johnny Brownlee run, and Bergier, the 2022 world champion, tucked in behind. Wild is looking to erase that gap, and you know, he's come off 3 weeks he hasn't raced ever since he came off early in the morning on the Paris test event, and it's something, he hasn't missed a race in 6 years, so it's hard to know how he is and how he feels after having a break like that.
It certainly is. Look at Leo Bergier, though, now just coming up on the shoulder of Johnny Brownlee. But Johnny Brownlee just loving this course. He's a great cross-country runner, loves the ups and downs.
It's a race in 2 right now. And Bergier and Brownlee putting the hammer down and putting time into the rest of the field. If you're just joining us, of course, a pursuit start for stage 3, so very, very important. Wild is dragging Schoeman up as the 2 Scorpions to try and cover that gap to Nina, Ryder and McQueen, who are all together, and Dixon as well trying to cross over. But at the moment, it's Bergier and Brownlee who at last split were just a second in front. Now I'd say they're probably 3 seconds in front as they run down towards the finish line of stage 1. Now, the Warriors picked up the first short shoot, the Eagles picked up the second, and if Johnny Brownlee can cross the line first at the end of stage 1, he'll pick up a short shoot for the Sharks. And there is the Shark and the Eagle on the grass running down the side of the Garonne. It's a foot race between the Eagle and the Shark, and I think the Shark's getting over.
Johnny over the top of Leo. Oh, no. Oh, come on, Johnny. This is great to see. Leo Bergier, the current world champion, Johnny Brownlee, he's lifeless. His career is, it's amazing. He's still pushing the pace with the world's best.
Absolutely brilliant.
Well, Bergier denies the short shoot to Brownlee. Blumenfeld does what he does and comes across the line in a big rush. Wild and Schoeman are your top 5. Not much separating them compared to what we saw in the women's. Ryder and Nina within the 10 seconds. And McQueen faded in the end there to 14.7 seconds back.
And we're missing Hauser.
Hauser was a long way back. I was going to call that earlier.
Yeah, he was Hauser. There he is.
Interestingly, it was Sanchez and Blumenfeld who ran from the ran from that Hauser pack to close that gap. Something wrong with Matty Hauser.
Well, he's coming back from COVID, and it can be one of those things that you might not have that top end, and that's what this racing demands of you.
It absolutely does. You can only come here, can't you, when you can run and not feel 100%, but if you're not 100%, it's going to hurt straight away. We can see Matty Hauser there just suffering, obviously not totally recovered from COVID. He had a difficult race here last year, and he would have wanted to make amends for that. He did win the final in Nîmes, and we expected a lot from him here today.
So Johnny Brownlee setting the bike up. We're hearing that he did have an issue with his bike, but the bike mechanic can come in and fix it up, and apparently everything is under control for Johnny Brownlee, so take a sigh of relief. Great Britain and Sharks fans, everything is okay right now for the champ. So setting it up again for stage 2. We're getting better access to the team managers this time. There's just Tim Don sprinting down the other end as we head down now to Rebecca Charlton.
Johnny, I know you're very, very busy. How happy are you with that start?
A lot better than I had last year, so I was a long way behind last year. But yeah, a lot doesn't really happen to the last leg, so that's where the double run is. But yeah, couldn't start any better, really.
You seem very calm as well.
Oh, well, didn't look it. Hi, thank you.
We'll let you focus. Thank you so much, Johnny.
Taking a couple of seconds as we look back at how this one shook out, and Chase McQueen along with 2 other Warriors came out of the water, so big swim points for them. And McQueen put it down at the start of the bike, picked up the short shoot for the Warriors and had a good first half of the bike before the crowd caught up to them. Bergier managed to steal the second short shoot, this one for the Eagles, as we saw the sign go up, and Bergier held off Brownlee and gapped the rest of the field. Those two in big form from Wild and Blumenfeld. And now we ready ourselves for stage 2. And that one, I mean, the cream rose to the top in a lot of ways. We're going to find out now how much the travelling has taken out of Blumenfeld, and also where Hauser is at, which is a really interesting one, both for the Eagles.
But there was an interesting discussion in the Scorpions team meeting of where Hayden Wild's going to start here. He wanted to actually start in 5th position and get a running start. I'll see if he does do that. There's Henry Schoeman on the front. Hayden Wild requesting to start at the back because it's too congested on that first part of the run. He wants to hit it without getting in the congestion and get a running start.
Well, he's going to stand. He's standing back on the right-hand side of your screen right now, and he's looking around going, yep, you go in front. I want to stay back here. So he doesn't get held up at all as they round the turn. So he's on the outside at the back, and we're about to start stage 2, run, bike, swim. So around the outside, shoulders his teammate out of the way, and it can get congested right there as we see someone have, I think, Stanton stop, trip a little bit, and that out the front is Reese Vannison, who laid down a 2-minute lap, 7 seconds faster than Alex Yee last week, the 18-year-old, part of Project Podium for the USA Triathlon, and took the run points, and he is out the front again. Chris Perham is there as well. He was the fastest runner and picked up the points last time around. I think that's Roberto Sanchez-Manscon between them.
No, it's Vitali.
But it is, you're right, Vitali Vorontsov.
They've been instructed, obviously, those three to chase running points because they've gapped the field.
And the thing is not to be carried away with that, because with no disrespect to them, they will not feature overall in this race. And I think the sensible thing is just to sit back a little bit and not go at this pace, because this is absolutely flat out.
Yeah, so just to give context to that, we don't mention it too much, but there is a teams points race that not only takes in everybody's individual points, but it also takes in points for the top 3 fastest swims, bikes and runs across the course of stage 1 and stage 2. So the first 2, swim, bike and run, you can try to lay down the fastest times, pick up some points to add to the team's total, and there's $300,000 on the line for the teams this year. So these great single discipline athletes are the ones who are instructed by the team managers to go out there and pick up those points for the team. Wild is the first, I guess you would call it GC contender,
yes,
who leads the rest. But at the moment, it's a shootout between, I think now, Vincent and Borisov to see who might pick up that time. And Vincent's in the front of this 2-man foot race for the team points. We'll see what shakes out as they cross the line.
Nick, how's it looking out there for you?
Woo, our boys are really showing us what they've got. We knew the Warriors were going to show up today eventually, and the men have really brought it to the table. You can see our lead guy right now just setting that fastest run split again. He's got to hold on to it. We need those points, so we are feeling confident.
Nick, thank you.
Yeah, Vincent ran a 4:19 1500 metres as a 13-year-old, made the Youth Olympics, and he's the junior national champion, finished 3rd in the 2022 World Juniors. Sturmacher, in fact, was 7th in 2023 when he was 6th. He crosses the line. He's absolutely gassed when he's picked up those points.
I want to see that split.
It was Hayden Wild 3rd across the line. Yeah, GC runner Christian Blumenfeld. Is there anything this guy can't do in 4th? Sanchez back there for the Scorpions. All a big group coming in now.
Vincent is totally shot, and fair enough. He has absolutely run his heart out there. Borisov and Wild. No, Wild takes control of this one.
Wild will go. We know that. He will not hang around. He'll use his bike skills, and he will be out of here. He's not going to wait for anybody. He lost some time in that opening race to Johnny Brownlee and Leo Bergier, and now he will strike.
I'm really surprised that the rest of the pack didn't pick up on that, watching him go out, nailing that. You've just got to be so on it when you know that Wild is going to attack a bike course, because out of mind on this course, and this is a nice course to be away on your own, and the rest of them in a great big pack on their own.
He's gone.
He did this last year as well. Feet out, went straight up, hard up the rise, which is steeper than it looks on television, and disappeared off the front. Now, it was, what, 5 seconds back to Wild in stage 1? All of that's been evaporated now with Brownlee 4.2, Bergier 5.2, and they're all together, and Blumenfeld wants to cross that gap. So, Michael Gilliam will be a little happier as we see someone hit the deck, and it's Taylor Reid. It's Taylor Reid down there who has hit the deck, and he has looking a little tardy, so his partner Nicole Vanderkay came off, and now Taylor Reid has come off as well. So not a good day for the Kiwis, with Hayden Wild left holding the hopes, but he doesn't look well, Taylor Reid, and we'll see if we can get a replay of that. So let's talk now though to MG before he realises that this has happened, so he's at least happy about something.
MG, we've just seen Taylor Reid unfortunately come down. I know you can't see much from this vantage point as the field just comes through, but never what we want.
Yeah, well, at the moment I got the Falcon off the front. As unfortunately Taylor's come down. It's a story of our world at the moment. It just doesn't seem to be able to catch a break. No matter which way we turn the wrong way, we do the wrong thing. More my responsibility, huh?
Hayden looking brilliant though. Thank you, MG.
Hayden Wild, look at him railing those corners. MG, I know, disappointed, but he should be looking up front, because Hayden Wild is going to gap this field. Blumenfeld will be the only one who chases. He only knows one speed, Christian Blumenfeld, and that is flat out. Taylor Reid back on his bike, but Hayden Wild at 8 seconds in 1 lap.
We'll have a look at it here, and I think he was on the outside there potentially, and there he is, just came in too hot.
Lost that front wheel.
Yeah, just onto the bricks there, and he is down. The others slow down to get around him, but the same thing happened to Taylor Reid in this place last year. It was just after the transition, lost the front wheel, took out Matt Hauser as well, and he's very disappointed too, because he was a podium getter last week and he was on top of the world, and how quickly fortunes can change. in Super League Triathlon. Meanwhile, the man with all the technical bike skills comes into Super League, came into triathlon as an Xterra world champion, so he's got such good bike skills and he is absolutely hammering it.
See how he hugs the wall there? We looked at that yesterday. There's a sort of a vacuum that comes off as the wind hits that wall. It creates a circular vacuum and it's really, really tight in there. Hayden picked that up yesterday as he comes off that corner. He runs right up on that wall. He says it gives him he's riding 3 or 4 kilometres an hour quicker there.
Yeah, so Hayden Wild, as I said, he's had 3 weeks off, but he's been riding at his home in Andorra. He's actually went on a ride the other day with Tom Pidcock, who, if you follow the Grand Tours, you'll know very well, and Cameron Worth as well, and rode the hills in Andorra just 2 days ago. So he is on it when it comes to the bike. Bergier now 8.2 seconds back, and knowing he needs to limit the damage in this stage 2 to protect some of the lead that he had in stage 1. Blumenfeld there or thereabouts as well, just seems to keep going like some kind of machine. Doesn't matter where he is.
Another athlete's jumped off the front.
That's Leo Bergier.
Yeah.
His bike skills come into fruition. Both Hayden Wild and Leo Bergier probably technically the most astute in this field, with Johnny Brownlee, who's on the front of the chase group.
Brownlee and Blumenfeld, so much success between them. 2 of the biggest names in the sport. Schoeman sitting there in the top 5 as well. Kenji Nina having a better day out. Dixon, Stapley, Ryder, who's also having a better day. And Sanchez is sitting there all in that big group as Matt Hauser looks to avoid getting dropped off the back of it. Bergier has put 5 or 6 seconds into this group in half a lap.
Potentially, Wild could come into the end of this bike with 20, possibly even 30 seconds if he continues to ride like this, because they've still got 2 laps to go.
He did the exact same thing last year.
1 lap now, I can hear the bell.
You'd think they would have worked that out. He set that run up, as we said before. He wanted to start on the outside, get out of the congestion, set up his transition, and he was gone.
So Bergier has pulled something back, 7 seconds. Johnny Brownlee in third with that big group, 13 seconds down. Schoeman's in there as well, Ryder's in there, Nina's in there, who finished on the podium last year.
You need to look at the swimmers now with the swim finish in this stage, who are going to come out of that second group and close some time down in the swim, because they're not going to do anything on the bike. Leo Bergier, probably not renowned for his strength in the water. Hayden Wild as well. And those 2 are the ones that have gapped themselves from the field.
They are indeed. Bergier and Wild will fight it out in stage 3. We'll head down to Tim Don.
Bergier right up there, and in the group behind you, amassing as Eagles as well.
Yeah, the Eagles are looking good. You know, you've got to remember that the Scorpions had 6 athletes racing today. And, yeah, I mean, there's a massive advantage on those long straights. So it is what it is, but you can see the athletes are racing full gas. Leo wants this. He wants a home win, so he is getting my short shoot.
And he's new to the team relatively.
He is very new to the team, and he's here for the rest of the series, so he's only going to grow and get stronger, as is Christian. What a phenomenal. You're not an Olympic champion for nothing. The Eagles are still going to dominate today.
Thank you, Tim.
Positive chat, isn't it, from Tim Don there, as Hayden Wild now makes his way into transition. Great smooth dismount from the bike.
You watch his transitions. He is silky smooth and silky quick. The fastest by far gone.
Oh, his bike's hit the deck.
Team manager can pick that up. No problems.
And
he went the wrong way.
Silky smooth transition,
Yeah.
says Chris McCormack. Drops the bike, takes a shortcut on the swim, gets sent back. Not quite what he would have liked, but regardless.
He'd be happy to have open water and clear water. He doesn't have to fight with anyone. Find his technique, find his rhythm. Leo Bergier behind has got someone to chase, but not renowned as a big swimmer. This is where the swim power will come from. Look for Henry Schoeman in this group in particular.
They come bustling down the chute into the water, and that is on the back there, the big easy, Max Stapley, who needs to swim his way around this group if he can at all.
Yeah, Hauser and Stapley probably the strongest, but last into the water.
Yeah, you need a better swimmer on the front there. No disrespect to the Olympic champion Blumenfeld, but he's not known for his swim. Nina is a great swimmer, but Sanchez more a runner. Schoeman needs to swim his way up there and push the pace. Can't see Johnny Brownlee. Yes, I can. 15 seconds, so he's just at the back of that group.
Bergier swimming remarkably well. He's got that bubbles. He can see through his goggles. The kicking in front of Hayden Wild, he's able to hone in on that and follow that line to the can.
So he was 7 seconds quicker than Wild the first time they swam, and it looks like he's going to do the same thing here. Seth Ryder gets the Warriors short shoot, and why not? He's having a much better day today, is Ryder, and he is the only Warrior in the top 10. Chase McQueen has fallen out of that, as Wild and Bergier drag race their way to the first buoy.
And that's interesting because Wild looked like he went a little bit
He got pushed with
far
that current,
right there.
too
Yeah,
far
he
right.
did. And it's enabled the rest of the pack, almost all the pack. We've got 1, 2, 3, but they're all joining forces now with that nice
You
draft
see that current
you get.
there. You see that current there. Wild went wide on the thing. Leo Bergier got caught up on the...
real current
that's
now,
a proper
isn't it?
current. You can see that on screen now.
Yeah, Bergier stood up for a second and just thought, what am I swimming into all of a sudden?
But it's allowed the other athletes to come back in, hasn't it, to the race?
Yeah, it seems to have picked up a little bit, if anything, from the women's race, and now it's a nicely strung out pack. So all of that advantage that Wild put in with that huge bike leg has evaporated in the first 150 metres of the swim. He went too wide, got pushed wide, and then had to sit up and take a look. And now
the Warriors are up there.
Back of that, yeah.
Is that Ryder?
I think that's Ryder.
Great swimmer, Seth Ryder.
Huge swim, and he swam right across the front of Wild there, and he's
that
they're going in different directions.
The current is huge. I don't know whether it's not a tide, but it has really come into play in this race. You see them getting pushed
struggling
downstream,
with it, isn't he?
Yeah.
And a swim coming in the middle of the next one, so Wild will again head out on the bike, and then he's going to have to hold on and try and see if he can run it home if he's going to win this one. Bergier in third, Ryder having no trouble with this whatsoever. It's good to see him back as well.
Johnny Brownlee sitting there in around about 4th, 5th position, and then just over there on the far left, that will be Max Stapley, I think. But interesting times in these water. The conditions have definitely changed since the women's race.
So Ryder has made 13 seconds up on this swim in 200 metres in the water, and that is a remarkable swim. As Blumenfeld just off screen there, chopping his way along, trying to stay in touch with the top 5. So plenty of wind, plenty of chop, and a fair bit of tidal movement in the water has meant that Seth Ryder has swum his way right back into contention. He said to me yesterday that he's going to have a better race. He had a terrible swim, first swim in London, never got back into it. Nina's good there too. And to finish stage 2, coming around, it's going to be Ryder who needs to just sprint his way, but he's not really doing it. Wild is, though, making sure he doesn't lose any time to stay away from the group. What a swim that was.
That's Leo Bergier. Kenji Nina, a great swim. Johnny Brownlee. Matty Hauser had a great swim too from the back to swim around everybody.
Stapley didn't have what he wanted there.
Yeah.
And McQueen comes back a bit, picks up 4 places. Blumenfeld loses about 6 in that swim. And we'll get the times for stage 3. Perham, who went out on that, tried to stay with Vanison at the beginning. And Vorontsov couldn't do it. And that second swim, we always see that one blow the field apart, and we've seen it again here.
Yeah, it's edge of your seat stuff, isn't it? It's all changing here. Just when you thought the positions were all sorted, they dive into the water. Wild lost all that time. How disappointing with the effort that he put in to that second leg on the bike. And what a stunning, stunning swim from Ryder.
Yeah, well, how outstanding for us, though, because when I say if my maths is correct, what I mean is I'm looking at the numbers that someone said to me. But it looks like Bergier is a couple of seconds ahead of Wild for stage 3, with Brownlee, Ryder and Schumann within 10 seconds. But we'll get a confirmation of that very soon. And there is Leo Bergier. Well, we're going to go down now to Becca. She's with Hayden Wild, who had quite the stage then.
Hayden, I'm just going to jump in while you're readying yourself. That bike leg was particularly rapid.
Yeah, felt good. Just hit the corners pretty hard, nearly fell off about twice, hit the barricade about 3 times actually. Did it right in front of my partner, so she was a bit unhappy about that. But having a good time out there. Feeling like I'm missing a little bit of top end on the run, but hopefully that's just coming through the race.
How technical is that course?
Yeah, it's nice and technical, I love it. Yeah, I thought Leo was going to be behind me the whole race. He loves the technical course, so yeah, I'll be watching for him.
Thanks so much. My mic is fully sweaty now. Hayden Wild, brilliant.
Nearly crashed twice, ran into the barriers 3 times, but yeah, it was sweet as
That was choice.
He never takes a backward step, does Hayden Wild, and he is going to have his work cut out for him if he is going to deliver the Scorpions a victory in his first time in the red colours. There are plenty of contenders behind him, and all of them have deep, deep resumes, and that's what Super League racing is all about. There's no doubt about that. Some words from Tim Don to Leo Bergier. Let's have a look back at the key moments of this one, the transition onto the bike, first of all, and onto the run. Vanison was too quick for everyone and then just basically blew the doors off, and he was out the back after that. Hayden Wilde wasn't too far away, though. And after the run onto the bike, it was Vorontsov for a second, but then it was Hayden Wilde who immediately took control. Taylor Reid had a taste of the tarmac. Someone else, I think it was McQueen there, who was very close to going down with him, but we hope Taylor Reid's okay, just as we hope Nicole van der Kay is all right. But then the rest of the bike was all about watching Hayden Wilde tame this course and then forget where he had to go for a second, went around the top of transition as he needed to do, was out the front in the swim, but Seth Ryder had the swim of his life to save, or to bring up 13 seconds on his competitors, crossed the line first with Wilde not too far behind, and then that shakes us out with Bergier, I think, to lead off in the Stage 3 pursuit start. So the stage has now been set, and the confirmation that Bergier, in front of his home crowd here in France, will start 2 seconds ahead of Wilde for the final 3 disciplines. Brownlee right there. Seth Ryder, great swim from him. He'll start 4 seconds back from Skuman, the second Scorpion in the top 5. Kenji Nina is having a much better race this time around. He's just ahead of his Eagles teammate Christian Blumenfeld. Dixon and Stapley there sandwiching Chase McQueen. Roberto Sanchez needs the run of his life to stay in contention. Matt Hauser is not having the race he would have liked as he recovers from sickness. And Mark Dubrick is off the back, and he may not start this one. So here we go. All the preliminary is out of the way, and it is up to these athletes to deliver. And Leo Bergier, having missed last week, has the weight of expectation of the home crowd, and he'll start first, but it'll be a negligible start, which means that we are going to have a race on our hands.
You've got 3 magnificent cyclists, probably technically the best, leading this group out. Leo Bergier, Hayden Wilde and Johnny Brownlee. If they come together, they're going to shut this field out with a massive bike performance.
So Bergier, who's your tip here? Bergier, Wilde, Brownlee, all champions in their own right at the front. Annie, what do you think?
Oh, it's going to be fascinating.
Right on the fence as we get it underway here in Toulouse. And up goes the boom gate. Bergier goes, Wilde follows, then it goes Brownlee, then Ryder. Henry Skuman looking calm. He has to wait a second, and he is on. Nina behind him, straight onto the bike, straight over the swim cap, and Bergier is solid and out. Wilde streaking down the black carpet to make sure he hangs on the back beautifully onto the bike there, as is Ryder. Brownlee a little slower, and Skuman wants to join that pack because there's a big gap after Nina. Back to Blumenfeld, Dixon and the rest.
These gaps matter. This first 500 metres of this bike course will set up the entire last stage for these athletes. You watch them gas it now, especially Hayden Wilde, who'll try and bring Leo Bergier with him and isolate Johnny Brownlee.
Yeah, interesting watching Johnny Brownlee take the transition there. He's favoured that sort of right next to the rails. He wants to get his feet in before he goes up the hill, where a lot of other athletes don't. We have one which what looks like a mechanical there. Is that
Ryder?
That's Seth Ryder.
Seth Ryder.
Oh, that hurts
That's
the American and the Warriors. Oh, and he's back on, but after all that hard work, he grinds his gears back to the top of the course.
He was right in the box seat too, just off Johnny Brownlee.
I don't know what happened there, but whether he came off or just dropped a chain.
Well, you're coming off that sharp, sticky hill, and you turn right into a left-hand, a slight downhill. That gear changes can drop the chain.
Because it's going to be interesting now, because Wilde, I tell you what, he's going to take a few risks on this course. He mentioned it in his interview just a few minutes ago, and we can just see now.
Oh no, he's come down.
Oof.
Just lost the front one corner before it happened to Taylor Reid. And that hurts, and
Henry's,
you know, he's on the bubble, he's on the limit, Ryder, and that's what happens.
Henry Skuman in fourth knows if he lets this gap, he needs Johnny Brownlee's wheel. Johnny will chase these two in front. Both of them know that the two athletes behind them are better in the water, so they need that gap.
Schoeman comes in a bit hotter into that corner as they head up the hill to make sure that he can pair up with Brownlee. He doesn't want to see these two get away, and Beaugrand did this in the opening stage. Wild did it in the second stage. That's the point to attack and to really put time into your competition.
I tell you what, those legs have got to be burning up that hill. I feel for Johnny Brownlee trying to chase down Wild and Leo Beaugrand, but he's not giving up just yet. But Leo Beaugrand, wow, what a master of this bike course. Wild at the moment just choosing to sit in there, but Johnny Brownlee's going to have to work pretty hard, and I don't see them pulling back now anytime. It's going to be, I think, Schoeman and...
Henry won't help a lot. Henry's
he
going to take Johnny Brownlee's whirl and ride it through. Both these athletes have to limit their losses on this bike ride because they're both better in the water than the two in front.
Yeah, so Schoeman, you know, he's renowned, or he's been renowned in past years for, that was close, for having a great swim. He would feel that he could swim up to the back of Hayden Wild in that 300 metres, especially given the water the way it is, but we'll see how that plays out. We've still got a couple of laps left of this bike. And is that Perham who's been lapped out?
Perham, I think,
and he'll stop at the black carpet up here by virtue of that rule. And there are a couple of others too who will stop. And they've been eliminated. Such is the pace at the front as Wild continues to push his way up this hill in the third lap. And the French crowd continue to push Leo Beaugrand on, to not let the Kiwi out of his sights.
They are railing it. That gap has opened up. Johnny Brownlee coming around the bottom of that climb. It's about 150 metres, that climb. You can see the gap opening. They know this is all or nothing.
Bit of a gap there between Brownlee and Nena now, though. That gap is definitely growing. It's now 13 seconds.
We're down now to Rebecca Charlton, who has the managers from the Scorpions and the Eagles.
Tim, it's very tight at the front.
It is. I mean, you've got the Olympic bronze medalist going toe-to-toe with the current world champion in France, who is French.
Still all to play for out there, MG.
Can you see the tears behind my glasses? At the moment, my heart's bleeding. I've been mauled by teeth, clawed by eagles. I'm just getting hammered every which way I go, and now the bitumen's even biting us. I give up.
Tears of joy from MG, guys. Thank you so much.
He feels the losses, but may he feel the win at the end of this one. Schoeman and Brownlee have dropped right off the back, and they'll need the big swim to get themselves into this one. So Wild will know that in this swim he needs to stick to Leo Beaugrand like glue.
What a run that'll be. What a run that'll be. But all things being equal, there's a lot of racing to go, but this is really setting itself up for a big race. There's two groups away with the big pack behind. Matty Hauser in that backpack. We're expecting a lot more of that COVID really playing on his strength in this race.
And it's interesting that neither Wild or Le Beaugrand, neither of them raced last weekend in London, perhaps coming in here with slightly fresher legs than Schoeman and Brownlee, who both, of course, raced last weekend. But these guys, I don't think anyone could beat them on any day on this course with the way they're riding.
Wow. And defence of Henry Schoeman, he's taken a pull on the front, at least when they came over the timing mats. Maybe because they're coming over the timing mats. Just to prove you wrong, Blumenfeld leading a pack of 4. Nina, Dixon, McQueen, so a couple of Eagles in there, a Shark and a Warrior in that 5th to 8th position as Matt Hauser continues to leak time off the back. Just doesn't have the extra 5% that he needs. Hayden Wild has 4 seconds on Beaugrand in the previous run splits. So we have a look at where the short shoot is when they come to the run. 2 laps of the run, 2 short shoots to be taken. Probably adds up to about a 5-second benefit.
And you heard Tim say that's going to Leo Beaugrand. So that'll be interesting.
That's true. That could be what changes things, because the Scorpions do not have a short shoot to hand out. Of course, the other one goes to the Warriors and to Seth Ryder.
I'm just noticing that Leo Beaugrand is taking his shoes out, his feet out of his shoes.
What's happened here?
He thought it was the end of the race.
He thought it was the end of the fight.
Yep, and he's made a monumental...
Hang on, what's going on here? It is the end of the bike. It is the bell lap. Wild's gone on an extra lap. Oh no! Wild's forgotten. He's got to go back.
Oh, wow. Well, just looking at
So we heard the bell.
Just looking at our screen, it looks like we've got a 4th lap to go.
He might be disqualified for that. We will see, because, I mean, we saw it happen to Vincent Lewis last year in World Triathlon Racing, and now it's happened to Hayden Wild. He's got his lap numbers wrong, and MG is ropeable. Dear, oh dear, he's throwing the cap, can't take a trick. Now he's got to go round the back, and he's on the back of a pack with Chase McQueen.
That is terrible. Is there a bell lap? I didn't see that.
I think we saw the bell at one point. Now the goggles have come off and the wheels have come off the Scorpions charge.
All will be revealed, but at the moment, I'm not sure what happened there. I thought there was 1 lap to go.
Well, the graphics at the bottom of the screen said 1 lap to go, but we'll get a confirmation.
That was confusion. There was a lot of confusion. Hayden Wild rarely makes mistakes like that, so...
Well, according to the clock times, it's possible that they shouldn't have finished the bike yet. So, we'll see what's going on here.
MG seems convinced there's a lap to go. He's talking to Michael Thompson, the race referee.
Nope, not very happy, MG.
Yeah, apologies for the language there, but you get what you get with MG. And Berger, meanwhile, is out the front, continuing.
And that's Henry Schumann, who's put himself back in this race with a big swim. He could close Idnos gap on Leo Berger without question. An amazing swimmer under fatigue, Henry Schumann, with someone to chase. Johnny Brownlee will tag those feet if he can.
Short shoot allocation down below there. Seth Ryder takes it, and Leo Berger will take that for the Eagles.
What a tragedy for Hayden Wild, who looked on amazing form today.
Okay, so I do have some insight into what happened there, because we had athletes that they were just overtaking as they headed into transition. The one board was still up for those athletes who still had a lap to go. The bell did ring, and they did do 4 laps, but the one board for the lapped athletes confused Hayden Wild.
Wow.
And he went through transition only to realise halfway up the slope that he had done 4 laps already.
They shouldn't be lapped athletes. They were going to be pulled off anyway. I guess they should.
They were going to be pulled off.
Just after transition.
At that transition point.
Yep.
Oh, that's a tragedy. Racing error.
There we go, though. But it is about the Frenchman now in the water, being chased down by the Commonwealth Game champion.
Olympic bronze medalist.
Olympic bronze medalist. Oh, what a resume.
He doesn't have a bad run either.
He...
So the short shoot still goes to Berger only. In terms of this front group, and the last time we're probably going to see the QR code, so predict now. If your prediction was Hayden Wild, change your prediction.
Look at Henry.
Because Leo Berger and Henry Schumann.
He's bringing that kick in, Henry Schumann. He wants to close that gap if he can come into transition. Johnny Brownlee just been gapped. You see Henry's 6-beat kick come in just about, 20 metres ago, and that gap's closed to Leo Berger.
Schumann's gotten better as this race has gone on. And I'm not sure where people are voting for Matt Hauser. But out on the water comes Berger, and now we have a 2-kilometre run to finish things. And can Henry Schumann find another gear? He looks behind him and sees Johnny Brownlee, who's been running immensely well. But the only person with a short shoot is Berger. Now the short shoot here in Toulouse, not as big an advantage as we've seen at other races, but it does happen twice. Dixon, McQueen, Nina, 20 seconds back. Wild, I think you can count him out based on the firepower at the front. And it's Brownlee, Schumann and Berger. The crowd well behind the Frenchman. Hayden Wild just through transition now, and he's looking at damage limitation. And he struggles with his shoe. Things have gone completely wrong for the Falcon.
And how do you recover after that?
He'll have a massive run, Hayden Wild. He never quits this kid. He will dig in and try and take as many athletes out on this 2-kilometre run.
I predict him in 4th. And I think he'll overtake everyone in front of him.
He's out with Blumenfeld. It'll be a great race. The Olympic champion versus the Olympic bronze medalist.
Can he make up 6 seconds to vault himself back from 7th into potentially 4th position?
I say yes.
Yeah, I think he probably, he's got a good chance if anyone can do it. Meanwhile, out the front, Berger is controlling this race, and Brownlee has caught up to Schumann.
Yeah, he has. He's made up those few seconds he left in the water, but Leo Berger striding away by the looks of things. But Johnny Brownlee definitely not giving up as he overtakes the South African athlete.
Henry Schumann had a glance back. Bad move, bad move. He needs to run off the shoulder of Johnny Brownlee.
All right, now suddenly there's clear air behind Leo Bergier, and Tim Don will be very happy about it, no doubt.
There was confusion there, big confusion for Hayden Wild, but not for you.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd were going wild. I could see them slowing down, and I could see Leo looking at me, and I was going, stop. I heard the bell. I saw the lap sign, the one before. He listened. He got off, dismounted. Man, it moves at 1,000 miles an hour, this game.
It really does. There's so much in their head already. And tell us about the short shoot.
I mean, I'm so chuffed. You know, there was a no-brainer to give it to Leo. You know, it means a lot. This is his first race of the season. I want him to take this advantage, this feeling of a home race onto Malibu and onto Neon, the grand final. It's not over yet. He's got an Olympic medalist chasing him.
Thank you.
Well, Johnny Brownlee has overtaken Henry Schoeman, relegated him to 3rd position currently. And you'll see him come into shot at the back there. There he is. He doesn't get to take the short shoot. And I think just that gap looks too big. Would you not agree?
Yeah, the gap's too big. Leo's in control. He's composed. Johnny Brownlee will not give up the chase, but he knows that Henry Schoeman has a fight in that second lane. Henry gets better as these distances go longer. He needs to get that gap open and break Henry's spirit, which he's doing right now. You can see Johnny Brownlee really putting down the hammer now.
Just looking back over Leo Berger's career as well in Super League, we started back, well, that first race in 2017 in Hamilton Island, but the real series started in 2018. Leo Berger was 6th there and then 10th in 2019. And then he had a big gap. Do you remember in Singapore when he ran without any shoes on?
I was just about to bring that up. He's famous for the barefoot running in Singapore. That set that race up ahead.
He's now, it's called the Bergier rule that everyone has to run with shoes on because his shoes looked like mincemeat by the end of that run. He stuck it out, didn't he?
He did indeed.
10 seconds. Brownlee has gone right past Henry Schoeman, and now he's looking at a 7.6 second gap. But Leo Bergier is running with the entire population of Toulouse behind him. They saw Jean Leher, the other eagle, get disqualified in the women's race, and now the redemption for France, unless Johnny Brownlee can spoil the party with one of the great wins. Now Brownlee, and there is Wild, who comes around the corner, but Brownlee has finished second so many times in this racing.
It's obscene. It's obscene. But I'm just looking back at Wild v Blumenfeld, which is the race I want to see, and whether Wild can close in on Nina and Dixon. It's at 6 seconds to grab those points. We're talking about series points here, so for teams, and there's a lot on the line for these team races, and that's what the managers are screaming about. Every position counts. You've got these podium places here set up. Johnny Brownlee just doesn't stop fighting, does he?
He really doesn't.
Never quits.
You did say Wild would run into 4th eventually. That was your prediction. We've just seen him coming around the corner now on the heels of Dixon. He's overtaken Nana. What a phenomenal run. And I love the fact that he just hasn't thrown his toys out the pram and given up on this race. Running himself now past Daniel Dixon, who's looking very fatigued indeed, isn't
Look
he?
at Wild. He's so angry. Look at the anger on the Falcon's face. He is hating every minute of this.
He's going wild.
He is going wild. That's absolutely correct. He's made an error. He is going to limit the damage, and he's going to run on pure rage fumes for the next 700 metres. And he'll probably put down the fastest run lap on his way there too, purely because of that mistake. He knows he should have won this race, but instead it's probably going to be Leo Bergier, who we cut to now, heading down the hill. He'll take the short shoot once again. Brownlee's not close enough. And again, the double short shoot for Bergier. There is Brownlee in the backer shot where he has been. And now 500 metres to go, and Leo Bergier will win this race. Johnny Brownlee will lead the championship into Malibu.
That's absolutely brilliant for Johnny Brownlee, isn't it? Finishing second in London, second barring any disaster here today. That's Schoeman who's behind him. We'd expect to see Wild pretty soon coming under the bridge, as he does now. You've got to hand it to Wild, haven't you? He's going to pick up some really vital points for the Scorpions, who are going to have a pretty good day in the men's race.
Not a bad day. I don't know what MG's concerned about. I think both the women and the men have been amazing. The Eagles have been tough to beat, but Leo Bergier, first race of the series, and just dominated all day. His bike handling was amazing. His runs were impressive.
He has. Leo Bergier, he absolutely loves it. The 2022 European champion, the 2022 world champion. He won already plenty of times this year, and now he adds a win at home in Toulouse. Leo Bergier, first race of the season, first win of the season. Johnny Brownlee in second position again, but will lead the championship with Alex Shee not here. And Henry Schoeman from 7th last week to 3rd this week. A big swim in the 3rd stage puts him into it. And Hayden Wild comes across the line in 4th, and he will be very disappointed. Dixon 5th, improves on his position last week, and straight off he goes to talk to the officials.
Standing right here, he rang the bell, the one that sign was up. Timmy Don's on as well.
Bitterly disappointed. He's such a winner, Hayden Wild.
He rang it.
Yeah, I know he did.
Why do you ring it again? What do you mean?
He rang it, legit.
He rang it with 1 lap to go for you guys. He rang it, Hayden.
He doesn't like it, Hayden Wild, but it looks like it could have been just a racing incident. As we say always, there's so much going on down there. There was lapped athletes coming across the line. The one board was still up for them. And that's where the management comes in. That's where the manager comes in, like Tim Don did and said, Leo, slow down.
Yep.
And that's the role of a manager. He's picking up the pieces now, but that time was lost. We'll head down now to the black carpet.
Calm and consistent throughout the entirety of that race. You must be delighted.
Yeah, I think I've made the right choices during the 3 stages today, and yeah, I can't thank enough Tim Don, the team captain, and my teammates in the Eagles.
Was there some confusion at the end of that last bike leg?
Yeah, I was about to go down off my bike because I knew it was the last lap, and I heard Hayden shouting at me that we had still 1 more lap to go. So I came down a bit too late, and I saw him pass me like this. So I was really confused, and I think he was as well. So yeah, I'm really sorry for him. Because we didn't have the battle we wanted in the last stage, but yeah, it's part of racing, and I'm sure he will be good in the last 2 stages.
Thank you so much. Huge congratulations once again.
That was a mess.
Well, Seth crashed. That was on you, and Seth got over.
Johnny, sorry to steal you away. There's such a solid race to secure the podium. Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, another tough one, a good first race, and I lost my front wheel on the corners on the second leg, and that kind of spooked me a little bit. But Leo was just too strong on the bike today. He was riding unbelievably well, and he deserved the win. And not sure what's going on, Hayden, but I was pleased to see him running back towards me.
I was stood here in transition, and honestly, the pace you came through every single lap on the bike leg and into that turn, it's a mightily technical course, isn't it?
It's a very technical course. I think pretty much the last couple of rounds, every time I went around a corner, there was someone in a barrier on the floor somewhere. So much of it is about staying on your bike and staying calm and actually just getting around. Anyone can throw it into a corner, anyone can go into a corner too quick, but can you get around safely? And that was actually quite hard work today.
Well, you look fresh. Thank you so much. Congratulations on securing a 3rd step of the podium. How was it out there? It's so fast and furious.
Yeah, it's very fast and furious. It really is hard. But I enjoy this kind of racing, and it's so nice to be back on a Super League podium.
How hectic are these transitions?
Oh, you got to be so fast, and I think that's where I capitalized in this race. I made sure that I was quickest in transition, and that makes the biggest difference in the race.
Congratulations once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let's have a look at the story of that last stage. And back here, before all the drama, out they went, first of all, onto the bike, and Beaugrand was on first, but Hayden Wild was right on his wheel, and then it was the pair behind them of Schoeman and Brownlee after Ryder hit the deck, and that was what Johnny Brownlee mentioned, just staying on your bike was what it was all about. These two were stuck together like glue, though, for this entire bike period. And Beaugrand and Wild, just two of the greatest bike handlers. Unfortunately, Wild went 1 lap too long. Beaugrand did not make that mistake, and suddenly Hayden Wild's race was done and dusted as he headed back down transition, asking for some kind of clarification, but he had no recourse. Suddenly he was 20 seconds down. There goes the hat from Michael Gilliam. And Leo Beaugrand did not let that ruffle him, and he would run his way to a big, big victory in front of his home crowd, which is exactly what they wanted to see. Johnny Brownlee second. He will lead the championship heading into Malibu. And Henry Schoeman, I think, will vault himself up into second position overall. Well, just have to let the dust settle on that one. There'll be plenty of storylines to come out of it. Leo Berger wins well, and plenty of great performances throughout. And one of them was Dan Dixon, and Dan right now is with Rebecca Charlton.
Third in the men's podium. How happy are you with today's performance?
Oh man, I mean, that was awesome. I mean, that is one of the best races I've ever put together, but 2 in 2 weeks, so clearly the form was there. But yeah, no, it was awesome. I loved it. I came here last year and probably made a mistake going out too hard on the first round and blew up my race. But yeah, this year I was a lot more tactical, strong, and yeah, just staying away from making mistakes, you know, careful on the corners, careful in the transitions. But no, I felt good, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome. You know, I was sprinting Olympic gold medalist at the end. Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
It really doesn't. And just very quickly, when Hayden Wild went for another bike lap, did that make you doubt yourself?
I didn't even know he went for another bike lap, but yeah, I heard that he had a penalty, and yeah, I tried to push the run because I knew at some point he was going to come back. I tried to stay on him for about 5 meters, but couldn't hold on.
Listen, thank you so much. We'll see you later on.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, good to see Dan Dixon, who's been part of this for the last couple of years, do so well. And the results from the men's triple mix in the end, it was 8 seconds between Berger and Brownlee, the Frenchman and the Englishman, for the Eagles and the Sharks. And then a pair of Scorpions, Schoeman and Wild, who will rue that mistake to finish 4th overall. And then Dan Dixon finishing in the top 5, which is a great result from him, from Nina and Blumenfeld, who just keeps contending all the way throughout, whether it's super sprint all the way up to Ironman. McQueen finishing 8th overall in the end to add to his 9th in London. Hauser in 9th. And then Roberto Sanchez, who finishes in the top 10, a full 90 seconds back for a man of his class. Shows you how much the pace was on. So the championship series overall, 6 points now to Johnny Brownlee. Schoeman, as predicted, vaults his way up into the top 2, and Dan Dixon will sit in 3rd overall as we head to Malibu in 3 weeks' time. Roberto Sanchez, he could have added more there. He'll be disappointed with that after his 4th overall last week. Alex Yee obviously didn't add to his total, while Leo Berger added the 15 to his total for the race win. McQueen also on 15, so nothing between 5th and 7th, and then very close 8th, 9th and 10th as well. Taylor Reid coming off, so after his 3rd, he doesn't add to that either. It's time to head down now to the medal presentations, and a big crowd to watch a French champion be crowned for the first time in Toulouse.
Please welcome the medalists. The medals will be presented by Leonid Boguslavsky,
the chairman of Super League Triathlon, Leonid Boguslavsky, who has never missed a Super League race except for Toulouse here last year. Made sure he was here this year. He will hand out medals, and Johnny Dunal, the Deputy Town Councillor of Toulouse, is going to be part of the ceremony as well. Schoeman, who always seems to race better with his family around him. His 18-month-old is here in Toulouse, and as is his wife, Franzel, and he rewards their support with a podium. One of the stalwarts of Super League Triathlon. Finished 2nd in the series, as has Johnny Brownlee. Finished 2nd in the series, finishes 2nd today as well. He's used to chasing Frenchmen. For a long time it was Vincent Lewis, and this time it's Leo Berger, but another well-earned 2nd place for the 3-time Olympic medalist.
In 1st place, and 2023 Super League Triathlon Championship Series Toulouse winner from France, representing Santara Tech Eagles, Leo Berger.
Taking the win for the Eagles and enjoying every minute of it. Leo Berger, and don't the crowd love it as well. As the medals and the champagne get handed out here on a beautiful day in the Pink City. And again, thank you to Marie de Toulouse, Toulouse Metropole and the Occitanie region for their support and for being so welcoming to our athletes and supporting them in such a way. Such an amazing city. Great energy here, great crowds, and a great day put on with the help of the local triathlon clubs as well. It's been a fantastic one, and don't they love seeing a Frenchman on the top of the podium? 3 different teams, 3 different nationalities, all 3 extremely accomplished athletes, Olympic medalists and world champions, and there is Hayden Wilde on the right-hand side with the questionable tattoo, watching on and knowing he should be up there. So, the racing, as it was, ended up with the Sharks not extending their lead, but holding their lead. And the Bahrain victorious Scorpions, thank you very much to Henry Schumann, especially up to 2nd overall from the Eagles and the Warriors, but it is very tight. The Warriors with a better result than hoped. And that basically wraps us up from the racing here, but it continues in Malibu in 3 weeks' time, and what an end to the series it will be in the next 2 rounds. So, what a race. Toulouse always turns on. Plenty of controversy, the technical course, the big crowds, the small margin for error, and you either win or die trying, as they say, and plenty of people found themselves on the wrong side of that equation, and we hope certainly that they are okay, but there are plenty more who tasted that scent of victory, and that is because they put everything out there on the line, which is what we require here at Super League Triathlon if you are indeed going to end up with a race victory. So, Johnny Brownlee did it, Henry Schumann did it, and Leo Bergier. And of course, the race in the women was not anywhere near as close. Kate Woff was absolutely superb. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about first of all. It was a fantastic women's race, so time to review that now. We're going to head down now to Rebecca Charlton, who is going to help us wrap up what was an incredible race in the women's.
And I'm delighted that Michelle Dillon joins me now, understandably beaming. Now, I want to cast your mind back to a spectacular edition of the women's race, the triple mix, which is quite crazy to watch, isn't it? It's just brilliant. Kate Woff put in a stunning performance, but let's just go back to stage 1. Talk us through it and how it played out.
Yeah, look, I mean, our team came in today to stay in front on the team's leaderboard, and we've done that successfully because we had a consistency throughout the women's event with the Sharks team. It was just literally on from the gun, and Kate, we talked about the race before the start this morning, and we talked that she's going to maximise her opportunities where they are on the bike. She's such a strong biker. She's won the under-23 World Championships by getting away on the bike, and she did that here today. We didn't expect maybe for her to be so far ahead as she was, but honestly, the confidence is just built right up now for the next round.
What I was going to say, I really hope it has, because she's so modest, and she said a similar thing as you did about that bike gap, saying, didn't actually realise I was so far ahead.
Well, exactly. I mean, she's never been on the podium here at Super League Triathlon, so to get on the top of the podium, not even get a third or a second, but to actually go straight to the top is a phenomenal effort from Kate. And, you know, we as a team, we've inbuilt self-belief with the team over the last few days, and it's obviously paid off and worked. She's a phenomenal athlete, but a lot of it comes down to that deep-seated belief, convicting it and actually putting it, you know, into play on race day, and that's what really counts, and she did that today.
Oh, she certainly did. Now, I'm just going to turn to the man beside me, Tim Dunn. I mean, you're taking a bit of a deep breath there. What a spectacular day. If I could take you right back to the beginning, to stage 2 of the women's race. It's been a mixed day for you. Jan Leher was in such a strong position, and then big disappointment.
Absolutely. I mean, the race was set up for the pursuit format. It was going to be the Sharks against the Eagles. Rules are the rules. You know, the helmet wasn't done up, so she did it up, but the rule is you have to go back to your transition. Absolutely heartbroken, but I've said this before, this series moves at 100 miles an hour, and the athletes, they sometimes don't have time to think. Heartbroken for her, but I know she'll be back.
And transitions can make such a huge difference at this level. We think of it as being maybe something you need to learn at the beginning of the sport, but it's make or break.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the fourth discipline because, you know, the running, the swimming, the biking, they're so close. It's how they mentally approach the transitions. I call it controlled aggression. They really need to go in, focus, going bang, bang, bang. And you make a small mistake in this game, whew, you get punished.
Oh my goodness. Well, Michelle, let's now move on to talk a little bit more about stage 3 and how that played out for Wolf.
Yeah, well, obviously, I then gave the short shoot to Kate, thinking that, you know, if she's going to have a really good, strong, you know, race on her hands here with Jeanne Leher, and Taylor Spivey was up there at the time, and I thought, okay, for sure to guarantee a podium, let's make sure that we give her the short shoot. But then obviously things really change very quickly, and Super League Triathlon, like Tim said, and all of a sudden you find Kate off the front with a massive gap. And, you know, Olivia Mateus also, fair play to her. She was right up there having a solid race today. She didn't feel the best, but she still delivered a great result with 4th place. You know, but then unfortunately for the Eagles team, Jeanne got that penalty, and that then put her out of contention. And it was just really Kate just making sure that she gets off the bike with no mechanicals or anything and just cruising to a really nice, easy win, which is very rare in Super League Triathlon, let me tell you.
Well, it certainly is. I can totally agree with that. Tim, what are your biggest observations for the women's field looking ahead to Malibu?
We got these young women coming through and taking control. We got Fanny getting the top 10. We got Kate Woff, who last year you would never said she'd win. And I think that was the largest winning margin we've ever seen in Super League for a woman. Going to Malibu, you know, we've got a nice 4 week. Everyone can go back home. Some people to altitude, to their home bases. A nice, easy week. They're going to be rewatching this race and London to learn those small things. We've thrown the surf in Malibu. It is going to be great.
Oh, I'm excited. We cannot wait. Michelle, Tim, thank you so much.
All right, great insights there from Michelle Dillon and from Tim Don, both of whom are very happy, and why not? Race winners amongst them and a championship lead as well. And as we look at the athlete leaderboard after this round, it is completely different to what it was before. And now Leher has dropped halfway down, and instead at the top, Kate Woff puts herself in contention as well, and it's going to be all to play for when it comes to Malibu. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. And we're going to head down right now to Annie Emerson, who is with our race winner, Kate Woff.
Kate, has it sunk in yet? You are the champion here in Toulouse. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. The crowds were just incredible today, so they were pushing me every lap of the bike when I was just trying to drill it, and yeah, so happy.
Let's talk about that bike, because you look pretty awesome on the bike, but you were taking a few risks.
Yeah, I think especially on the first 2 rounds, I just want to try and push and like not think about the rounds coming afterwards, so yeah, I really pushed it, and then on the last couple of laps of the last round, I was like, okay, I just need to stay on my bike now. I don't want to fall off now, that would be a bit embarrassing.
There was kind of a lot going on in the race, as there always is here, because it's a technical course, but then we had the situation with Jeanne Leher. Were you aware of what was happening?
Yeah, I saw her helmet come undone when we were leaving transition, and I was like, I noted it because I thought she would get a penalty. I didn't expect her to be disqualified, so yeah, I was a bit gutted because I wanted like a battle, and yeah, I feel like it would have been good to battle right to the end, but I like to think I would have still got it.
Let's just look ahead quickly to 4 weeks' time, and Malibu, you have put yourself in a brilliant position, and how does that feel, and what are your thoughts of the Malibu course? You've raced there before.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really enjoyed Malibu last year. I love the ocean swim, so that's going to be really cool. Yeah, I'm just going to get my head down in training and, yeah, try and do the same again, I guess.
Congratulations. We're all very proud of you. What a fantastic first victory.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, real coming of age there for Kate Woff, and she'll be very happy with that, and she'll be very happy with her lead going into Malibu. 3 Brits and 3 Sharks in the top 3, if you can believe that. War, Matthias, Fulliger, the next generation really stepping up. Verena Steinhauser off the back of consistency is in 4th, and Jeanne Leher off the back of that disqualification drops from 1st to 5th alongside Leonie Perriot. And that means that at that point, the team leaderboard, well, the Sharks had hit the 200 mark, and the Scorpions, they moved themselves up from third into second. The Eagles, who were much vaunted going into this one, stay in fourth, and the Warriors picked up more points than expected as we head back down now to Rebecca Charlton for a roundup of the men's.
Well, I'm delighted that joining me once again down here is Tim Don and Michelle Dillon. Welcome back. Cast yourself back to that such fast and furious men's race and the very beginning. It was a strong start for your team.
Absolutely, they had great first swim, and this river current, it can really play havoc. We didn't have the best pontoon position, but they did really well, and that first bike, the pace was on. And yeah, they rode well, smooth transitions, onto the run, and then they had like 3 minutes to do it all again. But they set themselves up there for a great race, but you can just see they're broken. This is brutal.
I was amazed at how calm the athletes looked in those sort of roughly 3 minute breaks in between. Do you think it's a good thing that they stop? I mean, it's just so hectic.
Having raced this series many years ago, it's probably want a 10-minute rest, but that's never going to happen. 3 minutes is neither here nor there. Their mind's going, oh, what order are we doing it? Are we doing it this way, that way? This is the triple mix, man. It gets mixed up all the time. So, yeah, they need a calm head. We saw some crucial mistakes from both top men and top women today, which affected their overall performance and end position.
Well, Michelle, Johnny Brownlee had such a fine day. I think he's just such a calm-looking athlete, isn't he? Tell us about how he got on in stage 2.
Yeah, look, he did super well. I did expect him to get on the podium today, but with such a drama-filled men's race, wow. I mean, there was so much to think about with, Hayden riding through the transition area, Leo Berger and himself together. And then I think Johnny looked up and I was like, opportunity, take it. And he did. And I said, there's a second place there, if not a first place, if you just believe in yourself. The gap was probably just a little bit too big to peg back. But, I can't be happier with my team. Again, really consistent. Dan Dixon again up there as well in 5th position, gaining valuable points for our team. And we're still in front now, so I'm just super delighted about that.
Well, there was chaos. It was hectic. How do you keep a cool head? Were you in any doubt at any point whether there was one more bike lap?
Yeah, look, I mean, as a team manager, you've got a lot to think about. You're thinking about the transitions, trying to make sure the athletes are all got everything they need, and that gets tough out there. But, if anyone has to stay calm, it's me, even if it's just on the outside. I did my best to stay as calm as possible, but try to give the athletes some feedback whilst they're racing as well. Valuable feedback, which always helps. Make sure you put everything in the box, guys. How many seconds have you got the lead and stuff like that, and it really does make a difference.
Well, Tim Don, a word quickly on just how hectic that stage was.
It was just all over the place, and for Leo to race so strong in front of his home crowd, he was racing the race that was in front of him, and that's all we can ask. I mean, there was lots of yo-yo going in on there, but he never gave up and he fought to the end. But, as Michelle said, we had the world champion, an Olympic gold medalist, an Olympic bronze medalist on the podium. This is where the sport's at. This is where it's at.
And was there any discussion going on with Berger and any potential penalty during that chaos?
During the chaos, it happened so quick. I knew they were on their last lap, so it was like, yep, you got to get off your bike. Hayden went past. He got told to stop and come back as quick as possible. But I always say you race to the referee's whistle. So Hayden got a penalty, and he took that. Absolute fair play. No one gave Leo a penalty, so he raced to the head referee, and that's all you can do as an athlete. You can't tell a referee how to do his job, so fair play to Leo. Super happy for him. And let's be honest, we needed the points after the Sharks. I mean, man, I'm going to call them the Land Sharks now.
Oh, my goodness. Well, talking of the tenacious activity of the Sharks, how are you reflecting on the day as a whole?
Well, look, if we come to Toulouse and we can stay in front here, we've got a bloody good chance of really genuinely winning this thing, because, we're losing 3 key players this weekend, and they're probably at home watching this right now, guys. Our team did well, as you saw, and I'm just going to be super pumped going into Malibu, as are the athletes. We're still going to stay hungry. We've got to stay focused. That's really important, because we can never get, like I said last week, you can never get complacent with any of these results, because things happen very quickly in Super League Triathlon. It can change very quickly. But we're in a really strong position, and I'm delighted, and I couldn't be happy as the Sharks team manager, to be honest.
Michelle, as ever, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, she should be delighted. The Sharks remain on top, having taken 200 points, and there is the leaderboard after stage after round 2, sorry. Jonathan Brownlee on top, and how about that? 2 Brits in the top 3 and 2 Sharks in the top 3. So nearly an entire sweep of the top 3 on the leaderboard by the men's and women's in the Sharks and all GB athletes. If it wasn't for Henry Schuman's 3rd, that put him into 2nd position. Sanchez and Yee, your top 5. Berger, McQueen, Nina Stapley and Taylor Reid, who didn't add to his points, as we head down now to Annie, who's with Henry Schuman.
Henry, congratulations. It has been a long way back from injury and sickness, and it is great to see you mixing it up with the very best in the world, finishing on the podium here today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm feeling just so great right now. As you said, it's been a really tough couple of years with the ankle break and then an elbow break just before last year's season. To be back, you know, London, it was kind of like not really my day, but coming here and being on the podium, it's just so good to be back on a Super League podium, and I'm just looking forward to the rest of the series.
We were talking earlier, there is so much that goes on in this sort of racing here in Toulouse. How do you keep your head together?
Oh, you just got to think in the moment. You can't think too far ahead or think about what happened behind you. You just kind of have to keep going, keep focused, keep concentrated, and yeah, think about the next step, but giving it full gas the whole way.
And the crowds finally here in Toulouse, incredible.
Oh, so incredible with the crowd. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and cheering us. It really pushes us to our absolute limit, and I think they got some really good racing out of it.
Oh, well, congratulations. We are ecstatic to see you back on the podium.
Thank you so much. I look forward to more.
Yeah, why not? It's been, as he says, a long way back for Henry Schuman, and it's been a little way back for the Bahrain Victoria Scorpions, who move into 2nd position, but just 5 points ahead of the Santara Tech Eagles in their battle for 2nd, and also to chase down the Sharks, who went to 230 points off the back of this, as we head back down now to Becca to wrap it up.
Tim, we're hearing there's been an appeal from maybe 2 teams. Can you tell us the conversation you've just had?
This is so fluid at the moment. So, yeah, there's been an appeal, 2 appeals, because Leo rode with the incident with Hayden Wild. He went over the mount line. But as I said, Leo raced to the referee. Hayden got shown a penalty, and he took his 5 seconds. Leo did not get shown a penalty, so he carried on racing. That's all I know now. The appeal will still be out there. I'm sure the head referee and the committee will decide the end result. But, man, it's just full gas.
It certainly is. Tim, thank you so much for the insight. We're going to let you, I don't know, sit down, have a drink, something.
No, I need to run to burn this energy off.
That's what you're going to do. Go run. Tim, thank you so much. Now, the wonderful Annie Emerson joins me now. I think we all need to get our breath back.
I need a drink. I
think we'll go for a drink. But how are you reflecting? It was just a mad day, but brilliant.
It was a crazy day, but I love it. I love Toulouse. I love the course. I love the fact that it is so challenging. Chatting with Henry there is so much for the athletes to think about. But I think, yes, there were some crashes, there were some mishaps, but on the whole, what an amazing race.
There were some key people missing today, and they're back for Malibu. Talk us through it.
Oh my gosh, Malibu is going to be amazing. The ocean swim, I just love it. It's a beautiful place. We're going to have Yee back. We're going to have Potter back. So many of the good athletes are going to be back. In fact, everyone's going to be back racing. It is going to be a blinder.
Annie, I absolutely can't wait. We need to lie down first. Thank you so much, as ever, for all the insight today. And we will be back with all the action from Malibu on the 30th of September. Make sure you join us then. Bye-bye for now.